Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 2589. Just how terrifying was the Blood Demon Clan's foundation. 10 supreme grade divine arts in one move. Qin Feiyang couldn't calm down. But the Cyclops didn't care at all. He looked at the 20 blood-eyed giants and said, "These supreme grade auxiliary divine arts are for you." "Thank you, City Lord." The 20 blood-eyed giants hurriedly bowed and expressed their gratitude before each of them grabbed a jade slip. "And they're all auxiliary divine arts," Qin Feiyang murmured. No wonder the dragons didn't tell the public about the Nether King's hell. Who would be willing to let outsiders take advantage of such a place? It was no exaggeration. If one was lucky, they could get a lot of opportunities in the Nether King's hell. "Go out." The Cyclops waved his hand. The 20 blood-eyed giants turned and walked out. The Cyclops waved his hand again and the palace gate slowly closed. Qin Feiyang also hurriedly left the hall. Otherwise, when the gate closed, he wouldn't have a chance to leave. There was a large square in front of the palace. When Qin Feiyang left the palace, he saw the 20 blood-eyed giants sitting cross-legged on the square and starting to comprehend the divine arts in their hands. Looking at the 10 jade slips, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but wonder if he should take the opportunity to snatch them. But after thinking about it, he gave up on the idea. He didn't lack supreme-grade divine arts. For example, the Divine Dragon Art, Fire Phoenix Art, Soul Destruction Art, Sky Dragon 9 Steps, Fire Thunder Divine Art, Divine Armor, Bright King Golden Body, and Qilin Art were all supreme-grade divine arts. In other words, supreme-grade divine arts weren't of much help to him. Right now, supreme-grade divine artifacts were the most important. There was also the matter of cultivation. He had to break through to the 9 heavens realm as soon as possible. Otherwise, supreme-grade divine arts and divine artifacts would be useless. Because these divine arts and divine artifacts couldn't break through the shackles of a major realm like divine artifacts and divine arts. But now, he had just reached the greater divine stage. From the greater divine stage to the peak divine stage, he needed to refine 60 billion soul stones. According to his current refining speed, it would take him more than 73,000 years. If it was in the ancient castle or the Black Tortoise world, it wouldn't take so long. 100 years a day. 10 days 1,000 years. 100 days was 10,000 years. It would only take slightly more than 700 days. However, the problem was that there was no way to enter the ancient castle or the Black Tortoise realm. In other words, it would take him more than 70,000 years to break through to the consummate paragon god level. He couldn't guarantee that he'd be able to reach the half-step 9 heavens realm after reaching perfection paramount god. This was because after consuming the chaos god pill previously, there was already a shadow in his heart. What if he failed to break through 2 minor levels after consuming the yin-yang chaos pill, causing his cultivation base to remain at the perfect transcendent stage? At that time, he would have to spend even more time to break through to the half-ninth heavens realm from perfection to the god realm. How annoying. Qin Feiyang mumbled. Putting aside the yin-yang chaos core, the fact that it would take him more than 70,000 years to reach consummate paragon god was already a huge headache for him. If he could come across some good fortune and break through to the great circle of the paramount god level, and if he was lucky enough to consume a yin-yang chaos pill, he would be able to break through 2 minor levels and reach the half-ninth heavens level. In this way, he would have the power to protect himself in the hell of the Nether King. It was a pity. Dreams are beautiful, but reality is cruel. This kind of fortune was hard to come by. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead and left the mysterious sky ancient city. He opened a cave abode outside the city and refined the evil power in his body while refining soul stones to cultivate, waiting for an opportunity. There were at least tens of millions of people entering the Nether King's hell this time. Many of them were at the perfect 9 heavens realm. As long as he was patient, he would definitely have a chance. Time was like sand in one's fingers. 100 years passed in the blink of an eye. Those above the 9 heavens realm, come with us and search for humans. This morning. A roar shook the heavens and the earth. Boom. Then. Accompanied by terrifying auras, over 10,000 blood demons followed the 20 blood-eyed giants and surged into the surrounding mountains. Divine will covered the area. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes, activated the invisibility art and left the cave abode. Then. A few blood-eyed giants landed in front of the cave abode. Why don't I remember there being a cave here? There's nothing inside. It's probably a cave abode opened by those humans last time. The blood-eyed giants used their divine will to search for a while before destroying the cave abode and leaving. Qin Feiyang stood not far away as he watched the blood demons leave. His eyes sparkled. All the blood demons above the 9 heavens realm had left the mysterious sky ancient city. Only the one-eyed giant was left in the mysterious sky ancient city. As for the other blood demons, they were all below the 9 heavens realm and were no threat to him. In other words, as long as he could get rid of the one-eyed giant, he would be able to take down the mysterious sky ancient city. This was a great opportunity. However, he couldn't defeat the one-eyed giant by himself. He had to find some helpers. Qin Feiyang flew into the sky and scanned the mountains below. It had been 100 years. Why hadn't he seen anyone? Although 100 years was a short time in the Nether King's hell, someone should have come. Let's not talk about this first. I'll go to the ancient city and see if I can find any opportunities. Qin Feiyang muttered and silently entered the mysterious sky ancient city again. At this time, there was no 9 heavens realm aura in the mysterious sky ancient city except for the one-eyed giant. However, because of this, all the blood demons above the 9 heavens realm had left and the mysterious sky ancient city was even more guarded than before. However, this wasn't a problem for Qin Feiyang. He successfully hid in front of the palace in the center of the ancient city again, but the door was tightly shut. Looking at the entire palace, there was no other way to enter. My head hurts. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. It was really difficult to enter the ancient castle and the Black Tortoise realm. If he wanted to kill the one-eyed giant, he had to get close to him first. But now, he couldn't even enter the door. How could he kill him? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang thought of a plan and rushed out of the ancient city. He raised his head and a blood-red divine power appeared and blasted into the mysterious sky ancient city. This was the power of the purple-gold divine dragon. However, because the power of the divine dragon was concealed, he couldn't sense any dragon aura at all. But its lethality didn't decrease at all. Boom! The divine power blasted into the ancient city. There was a deafening explosion. More than a dozen blood-eyed giants were also severely injured. Who is it? The blood-eyed giant on the city wall was startled. He scanned the sky but didn't see anyone. Boom! Finally, the door of the palace in the center of the ancient city opened. The one-eyed giant walked out and shouted, "What is it?" Qin Feiyang immediately entered the mysterious sky ancient city and silently flew to the one-eyed giant's side like a ghost. A blood-eyed giant on the city wall immediately pointed at the sky and said, "City Lord," a divine power suddenly appeared in the sky and blasted into the city, injuring several of our people. A divine power appeared? The one-eyed giant was stunned. Yes. I only saw divine power, but I didn't see anyone. The blood-eyed giant said. The other blood-eyed giants nodded. The one-eyed giant frowned and released his divine will. It instantly covered the entire mysterious sky ancient city, but he didn't find anything. What's going on? The one-eyed giant's frown became tighter. At this moment, Qin Feiyang was also hesitating. Right now. He was standing right next to the one-eyed giant. If he attacked now, the one-eyed giant wouldn't be able to react. However, he wasn't confident that he could break the one-eyed giant's body. The blood demon's bodies were extremely tough, and the only divine weapons he could use right now were the blue phoenix sword and the dragon staff. But those two divine weapons were only at the legendary level. If he couldn't break the one-eyed giant's body, he would be trapped like Wu Baichuan and the others when the one-eyed giant summoned a barrier. If only Chang Shui was here. With Chang Shui's power, even if the one-eyed giant's body was comparable to that of an imperishable realm overlord, it could still be easily broken. Wait. Even if Chang Shui was here, there was nothing he could do. Because Chang Shui was also a divine weapon. No. I can't think about those divine weapons anymore. I can't continue to rely on them. Even without those divine weapons, there must be a way. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Unknowingly, he thought of Chang Shui, the castle, the sunset divine bow and the other divine weapons. This wasn't a normal dependence anymore. Now, he had to forget about those divine weapons and rely on his own ability and brain to survive in hell. After a while, the one-eyed giant retracted his divine will and said, "There must be a human hiding in the dark and using some despicable means. You must be careful and inform me immediately if there's any movement." His voice was like a bell that resounded over the entire ancient city. Yes. The blood-eyed giants on the city wall replied in unison. Their voices were also deafening. The one-eyed giant turned around and returned to the palace. Qin Feiyang hesitated for a bit and followed him into the palace. But this time, the one-eyed giant didn't close the palace door, probably to deal with the unexpected situation outside in time. Qin Feiyang stood in the air and stared at the one-eyed giant. Who cares? Let's try first. In the end, Qin Feiyang clenched his teeth and flew above the one-eyed giant's head. If he wanted to kill it with one attack, he had to attack the one-eyed giant's divine soul. Blue Phoenix Sword, don't let me down. Qin Feiyang murmured and was about to take out the Blue Phoenix Sword. Boom! But at this moment, an earth-shattering sound suddenly came from outside. Qin Feiyang was startled. The one-eyed giant that had just sat down also got up, and his red eyes were emitting a terrifying light. The two of them entered the palace one after the other and immediately saw a group of people standing in the sky above the ancient city. There were men and women, old and young. There were at least 10,000 people. The lowest cultivation level was at the half nine heaven state. There were even 500 to 600 peak nine heaven state cultivators. Every one of them was murderous. And standing at the front was a young man in purple. Both Qin Feiyang and the one-eyed giant were very familiar with him. It was Wu Baichuan. The young woman and the others were also standing next to Wu Baichuan. They're still here. And there are so many people gathered here. Qin Feiyang was stunned. No wonder no one had come to the mysterious sky ancient city all these years. It turned out that Wu Baichuan and the others had stopped them in advance. Chapter 2590. The Cyclops stared at Wu Baichuan and the others and shouted, "What do you want? Take a guess." Wu Baichuan smiled mockingly. "Not interested." The Cyclops snorted. "How boring. All right, I won't beat around the bush. Hand over the mysterious sky ancient city immediately and I'll spare your lives." Wu Baichuan said coldly. The mysterious sky ancient city? All the treasures? The Cyclops looked at Wu Baichuan in shock. This person was probably an idiot. He sneered. "It seems that the loss you suffered last time wasn't enough." Ha! Wu Baichuan laughed loudly. The young woman and the others also had mocking expressions. Looking at the expressions of the group, the Cyclops couldn't help but frown. The blood demons above the nine heavens realm have already left the mysterious sky ancient city. In other words, you're the only peak nine heavens realm cultivator in the mysterious sky ancient city. As for the other blood demons, the strongest is only at the paragon god realm. Do you think you can stop us with your current strength? Wu Baichuan laughed. You're monitoring us? The Cyclops' heart sank. You've caused such a big commotion. Do you still need to monitor us? However, we didn't leave because we were waiting for an opportunity. And now is undoubtedly a good opportunity. Wu Baichuan said. It's just as the dragon said. You humans are sinister, cunning, and shameless creatures. The Cyclops shouted. Yo! You know about the dragons? Everyone was surprised. Isn't that obvious? The dragons have been to the Nether King's hell countless times. The blood demons definitely know about them. Wu Baichuan rolled his eyes. That's true. Everyone nodded. Wu Baichuan looked at the Cyclops and sneered. In the human world, there's no such thing as despicable. There's only one principle: the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Everyone, leave the ancient city immediately. The Cyclops' pupils shrank as he roared. Immediately. The blood demons of the mysterious heaven ancient city fled outside the city. Do you think I'll give them a chance to retreat? Wu Baichuan smiled sinisterly and shouted, do it. Boom. Immediately. All the perfected ninth heaven's realm cultivators attacked at the same time, their divine power surging in all directions. In just a few breaths of time, a divine barrier appeared, sealing off the entire ancient city. Kill our way out. Countless blood demons roared and attacked the barrier with all their might. However, the strongest among them was merely a consummate paragon, so how could they possibly break through the barrier set up by a consummate nine heavens realm cultivator? Furthermore, this divine power barrier was set up by 500 to 600 perfect ninth heavens realm cultivators. The Cyclops' eyes also darkened. You didn't expect this, did you? The last time you sealed the ancient city, we were trapped like turtles in a jar. We were almost wiped out. But this time, we've turned the tables and made your blood demon race a turtle in a jar. Huh, you must be feeling very aggrieved right now. After all, this is your blood demon race's territory. Wu Baichuan laughed unscrupulously. You're courting death. The Cyclops stared at Wu Baichuan. You still dare to be arrogant? Wu Baichuan's face turned cold. He grabbed the air with his big hand, and a consummate paragon blood-eye giant flew in front of him uncontrollably. What do you want to do? The Cyclops shouted. What do I want to do? Wu Baichuan smiled sinisterly, took out the sky halberd, and slashed at the head of the blood-eye giant. Ah, following a pained cry, the perfect stage transcendent blood-eye giant was instantly annihilated. Blood rained down, dyeing the sky red. You bastard! The Cyclops roared. Huh, Wu Baichuan laughed wildly and said, I like to see your angry but helpless expression. The tens of thousands of people behind Wu Baichuan also sneered. However, Qin Feiyang, who was standing next to the Cyclops, couldn't help but frown. To be honest, there was actually no hatred between the blood demon race and humans. The reason why the blood demon race hated humans was entirely because they were implicated by the dragons. The dragons continued to enter the Nether King's hell, snatching the heaven-defying artifact and provoking the dignity of the blood demon race. Of course, the blood demon race would hate them. And this time, the humans had followed the dragons to the Nether King's hell. The blood demon race would naturally think that the humans were the dragons' accomplices. Naturally, they would also hate the humans. In the end, all of this could have been avoided. The blood demon race was magnanimous and let the humans and dragons search for treasures in the Nether King's hell. The humans and dragons would also be more conscious and not disturb the life of the blood demon race. This way, wouldn't everyone be able to live in peace? Unfortunately, regardless of whether it was the dragon clan or the humans, their desires were endless. Even if the blood demon race was magnanimous and wanted to accept the humans and dragons would take the initiative to provoke the blood demon race. In other words, the battle between the blood demon race, the dragons, and the humans was unavoidable. Looking at the arrogant and despotic Wu Baichuan, the Cyclops clenched his fists. The other blood demons were also burning with anger. If I were you, I would obediently hand over the mysterious sky ancient city to prevent my clansmen from being hurt. Wu Baichuan chuckled. In your dreams. The Cyclops shouted. Huh, Wu Baichuan burst out laughing. He grabbed at the air again, summoning another blood-eyed giant in the peak 9 heaven supreme realm. I like stubborn people like you. Because conquering people like you gives me a greater sense of accomplishment. As his voice fell, the sky halberd attacked again. Roar, accompanied by a miserable howl, the blood-eyed giant also died under the sky halberd on the spot. Flesh and blood flew all over the sky. The bloody scene was too horrible to look at. City Lord, don't worry about us. Quickly kill him. Our blood demon race is the king of the Nether King's hell. How can we allow these human dwarves to blaspheme our dignity? The surrounding blood-eyed giants roared in grief and indignation. In this world, there is actually someone who dares to call himself a king in front of us humans? How laughable. Wu Baichuan laughed loudly. The sky halberd left his hand and crazily attacked the city below. With a loud bang, more than a dozen blood-eyed giants were immediately shattered. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. Enough. I'll give you the mysterious sky ancient city. The Cyclops shouted. City Lord, you can't. The other blood demons immediately shouted when they heard this. All of you, shut up. The Cyclops coldly snorted and looked at Wu Baichuan. I'll give it to you, but you have to promise to let my clansmen go. I thought you blood demons had more backbone. It turns out that this is all there is to it. Okay. I promise you. Once I get the mysterious sky ancient city, I'll leave immediately. Wu Baichuan laughed. The Cyclops shouted, all clansmen, leave the ancient city. City Lord, please reconsider. If you give the mysterious sky ancient city to these humans, you will face the punishment of the Ghost King. The surrounding blood demons cried out. I'll bear the punishment of the Ghost King alone. I won't implicate you. The Cyclops said. We're not afraid of implicating you. We're afraid of losing you. The blood demons roared. The Cyclops shouted, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up. Sigh. The blood demons sighed and soared into the sky. The Cyclops also flew into the sky. With a wave of his hand, the mysterious sky ancient city was immediately uprooted from the ground with a loud bang. Immediately after. Under everyone's gaze, the mysterious sky ancient city shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than 3 breaths. The ancient city shrank to the size of a palm and floated in front of the Cyclops. This is considered half a space divine object. The group of people behind Wu Baichuan revealed greed in their eyes. Wu Baichuan himself was also extremely excited. He stretched out his hand and said, quickly erase the blood contract and give it to me. The Cyclops said in a deep voice, before I give it to you, swear to the heavens that you'll let my clansmen go. Okay. I, Wu Baichuan, swear to the heavens that after obtaining the mysterious sky ancient city, I'll immediately leave this place and won't make things difficult for anyone from the blood demon race. Wu Baichuan raised his hand and shouted. Sigh. You dare to believe a human's oath? Qin Feiyang, who was hiding in the void, looked at the Cyclops' innocent appearance and couldn't help but shake his head. The thing that humans didn't trust the most was oaths. Unfortunately, the blood demons didn't understand humans. However, to him, this was undoubtedly an opportunity. Qin Feiyang took out a facial restoration pill and quickly stuffed it into his mouth. His appearance instantly changed. At the same time, after Wu Baichuan swore, the Cyclops also quickly erased the blood contract. With a wave of his hand, the mysterious sky ancient city turned into a stream of light and flew toward Wu Baichuan. Wu Baichuan was overjoyed and took the initiative to fly toward the mysterious sky ancient city, as if he was afraid that it would be snatched by others. Actually, the other great perfection nine heavens realm cultivators, such as the young woman and the others, were indeed eager to make a move. However, out of fear of Wu Baichuan, they didn't dare to make a move rashly. Haha, seeing that the mysterious sky ancient city was about to be in his hands, Wu Baichuan couldn't help but laugh. However, he didn't know that Qin Feiyang had already arrived in front of the mysterious sky ancient city. However, just as Qin Feiyang raised his arm and was about to snatch the mysterious sky ancient city, his arm paused slightly and there was a trace of hesitation. His gaze swept across the divine power barrier around him. Because the barrier that sealed this place hadn't dissipated. Even if he snatched the mysterious sky ancient city, he might not be able to leave with it. Moreover, this divine power barrier was set up by 500 to 600 great perfection nine heavens realm cultivators. With his ability, he wouldn't be able to break it. Haha, just as Qin Feiyang was hesitating, Wu Baichuan grabbed the mysterious sky ancient city. His eyes were filled with excitement as he laughed wildly. Qin Feiyang glanced at Wu Baichuan and didn't try to snatch it. He decisively retreated to the side of the divine power barrier and continued to wait for an opportunity. Because he knew that the real battle was about to begin. A vengeful person like Wu Baichuan definitely wouldn't let the blood demon tribe off so easily. The Cyclops looked at Wu Baichuan and said in a deep voice, "Quickly fulfill your promise." Promise? Wu Baichuan was slightly taken aback. He played with the mysterious sky ancient city and looked up at the Cyclops. He asked jokingly, "What promise?" "You," the Cyclops looked at Wu Baichuan in shock and anger. "Haha, didn't the dragons tell you that the most untrustworthy thing in this world is an oath?" Wu Baichuan raised his head and laughed. The young woman and the others also sneered. The Cyclops clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes flashed with a terrifying ferocious light. So scary. Unfortunately, it's not night time now. You blood demons can't transform. Today, I'll let you idiots see the means of us humans. Brothers, don't leave a single one alive. Kill. Wu Baichuan cackled. Chapter 2591. Boom. As Wu Baichuan finished speaking, the tens of thousands of people all attacked. Divine power roared in all directions, and divine weapons flew all over the sky. Kill. Under the lead of hundreds of nine heavens perfection cultivators, a group of people charged into the blood demon tribe like hungry wolves. One had to know. The weakest of these people was a half-step nine heavens perfection cultivator. The strongest of the blood demon tribe was only a supremacy perfection cultivator. How could they be a match for them? Even if the blood demon tribe could use the power of the evil sun to heal their injuries, it was useless. Because this was a complete massacre. That's a pinnacle divine weapon. Look, the sword in the giant's hand is actually a legendary divine weapon. This is too much. The blood demon tribe is just a supremacy god, but they have a pinnacle divine weapon and a legendary divine weapon. And it's harder for us nine heavens perfection cultivators to get a legendary divine weapon. It's too unfair. Kill them. These divine weapons are all ours. At this moment, these tens of thousands of people vividly displayed the greed of humans. Killing and plundering. The cruel scene made one's hair stand on end. You all deserve to die. Seeing his tribesmen being killed one by one, the one-eyed giant suddenly roared, and a set of blood-red armor appeared on his body. A monstrous murderous aura suddenly erupted. That's a supremacy armor. A group of nine heavens perfection cultivators saw the blood-red armor on the one-eyed giant's body, and their eyes lit up. That was greed. Immediately, the group of people used their strongest techniques and charged toward the one-eyed giant, all wanting to snatch the armor on his body. You're more despicable and insidious than the dragons. Even if I die today, I'll drag you damn dwarfs to hell with me. The one-eyed giant roared again and again. Accompanied by a loud clang, a blood-red axe appeared in his hand, and its sharp edge instantly tore through the surroundings. What? Another supremacy divine weapon. The group of people was shocked. How terrifying was the Blood Demon Tribe's foundation? Clang! The one-eyed giant was enraged. He grabbed the blood-red giant axe and swung it forward furiously. Boom! That was a crushing force. The deity incantations created by a group of perfected Nine Heavens realm cultivators were instantly annihilated. Poof! Their bodies and minds trembled as blood gushed out of their mouths. How terrifying! Even though they were both at the great perfection Nine Heavens realm like the Cyclops, they couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. Move aside, I'll do it. Go and kill the rest of the blood demons. Wu Baichuan waved his halberd and charged towards the Cyclops. When the young woman and the others saw this, they once again charged towards the other blood demons. Humans, you heartless bastards, I curse you to die a horrible death. The heavens will not let you off. Lord Ghost King will not let you off either. Just you wait to go to hell. Screams and roars of rage rang out incessantly, echoing within the barrier. You've already obtained the mysterious Heaven Ancient City. Why are you still doing this? This is also a living being. Qin Feiyang muttered to himself as he stood beside the barrier and watched this scene. He was also a member of the human race, but he was increasingly disgusted with them. Greedy, selfish, wild ambition, unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals, it could be said that humans were almost cold-blooded creatures. Wu Baichuan stared at the Cyclops and sneered. I have to settle the score with you for the previous time. The halberd was fully recovered, bringing with it an apocalyptic sharpness as it slashed towards the Cyclops' head. However, the Cyclops did not meet the attack head-on. Whoosh! That huge body soared into the sky, the gigantic axe in his hand emitted a monstrous blood-red glow as he slashed at the barrier with all his might. Bang! The barrier suddenly distorted. Shatter! The Cyclops roared, holding the gigantic axe with both hands, and slashed again. Crack! Immediately, a crack appeared in the barrier. At this moment, Wu Baichuan charged forward with the halberd in his hand. However, the Cyclops did not care at all and slashed at the barrier again. After 3 ferocious bombardments, the enchantment finally collapsed. Clang! At the same time, the halberd struck the Cyclops' body, creating dazzling sparks as it collided with the blood-red armor. Bang! Although the Cyclops was protected by the armor and his body was not injured, his huge body was sent flying on the spot and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Run! However, the Cyclops ignored his injuries and roared at the blood demons who were still alive. City Lord, hang in there. We'll go find our clansmen and rush back to support you. The blood demons didn't hesitate either. They immediately fled in all directions at top speed. Do you think you can escape? A group of Peak Nine Heavens cultivators sneered and chased after them. The blood demons fell one by one. The void was dyed red with blood. The ground was also littered with corpses. Blood gathered together and flowed like a river. Damn it, damn it. The Cyclops bared his teeth and charged at a burly man with the blood-red axe. That burly man was also a Peak Nine Heavens cultivator. However, when he saw the Cyclops charging at him, he immediately used an auxiliary technique and fled without looking back. Go to hell! The Cyclops roared and divine light surged under his feet. His speed also skyrocketed as he chopped down with the axe. The burly man screamed and his blood splattered in the sky. Do you think I don't exist? Wu Baichuan was enraged. He charged forward like a bolt of lightning, his Fangtian halberd once again striking the back of the Cyclops. Puff! The Cyclops spat out a mouthful of blood. He turned and stared at Wu Baichuan. Okay, I'll kill you first. A violent aura erupted like a volcano. The two of them immediately fought crazily in the void. Wu Baichuan was at a disadvantage for a moment. Every time the one-eyed giant attacked, it was stronger than him. Qin Feiyang. He had already left the moment the barrier collapsed. At this moment, he stood on a mountain peak in the distance and looked at the battlefield from afar. A wave of sympathy rose in his heart. What did the blood demons do wrong? They were only protecting their homeland and their dignity. All of this was the fault of the dragons. If there were no dragons, there would be no invaders in hell. Naturally, there wouldn't be such a massacre. The blood demons would have been able to live here peacefully. It was the dragons and the humans who broke the peace of the blood demons. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed. He turned around and used the heavenly dragon's 9 steps. Like a stream of light, he disappeared into the depths of the mountain. Half an hour later. In a certain mountain, more than a dozen blood-eyed giants were chasing after a few humans. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang broke through the air. The time for the concealment technique was up. Therefore, whether it was the blood-eyed giants or the humans, they all discovered Qin Feiyang immediately. It's Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang, save us. The humans immediately called for help from Qin Feiyang. There are actually humans who dare to show themselves. Die. However, the blood-eyed giants were filled with killing intent. One of the blood-eyed giants even charged toward Qin Feiyang. The mysterious sky ancient city is facing a massacre. Hurry up and inform your people to go back and help. Qin Feiyang said lightly. What? The blood-eyed giants were shocked. Believe me, I'm not lying to you. If you don't go back, your people will be gone. Qin Feiyang said. One of the blood-eyed giants frowned and said, Why did you inform us? Pity. Qin Feiyang muttered. He turned around and left without looking back. I don't believe it. This must be his trick. I'll go and kill him. An extremely tall and sturdy blood-eyed giant shouted angrily and charged towards Qin Feiyang. Actually, there are humans who are trustworthy. Qin Feiyang said without turning his head. Then, he disappeared into the void. That's right. The concealment technique. Now that the concealment technique could be used twice a day, it wouldn't be that easy for the blood-eyed giants to kill him. News? How did he do it? The blood-eyed giants were shocked. Don't worry about him for now. This person doesn't seem to be lying to us. Hurry up and kill these people and go back to the mysterious sky ancient city. One of them yelled. The blood-eyed giants attacked with all their strength. After killing the humans, they rushed toward the mysterious sky ancient city. In a certain valley, there was also a massacre going on. More than a dozen humans were fighting a blood-eyed giant. Although the dozen or so humans were at the perfect 9 heavens realm, the blood-eyed giant was at the perfect 9 heavens realm. That's right. This blood-eyed giant was one of the 20 blood-eyed giants. The mysterious sky ancient city is in danger. The city lord is in danger. Hurry up and find your people. Go back and help. Suddenly, a voice sounded in the blood-eyed giant's mind. The blood-eyed giant was slightly taken aback. He immediately looked around in surprise. Trust me. If you don't go back and help, the city lord will die. The voice sounded again. The blood-eyed giant withdrew his gaze, took out a supreme-grade divine artifact, and instantly killed the humans. He roared, nearby clansmen, listen up. Return to the mysterious sky ancient city immediately. His voice was loud and resounded through the clouds. The blood demons within a few million miles all had a trace of surprise in their eyes when they heard this voice. However, they didn't hesitate and immediately returned to the mysterious sky ancient city. At first, these blood demons didn't really believe it. However, as they got closer and closer to the mysterious sky ancient city and gradually sensed the ripples of battle, their expressions darkened. Outside the city, in the sky above a forest, the blood-eyed giant at the perfect ninth heaven realm stared in the direction of the mysterious sky ancient city. Hundreds of clansmen had gathered behind him. Go find the other clansmen immediately. The blood-eyed giant at the perfect ninth heaven realm shouted. Yes. The hundreds of blood demons immediately spread out and roared, the humans have invaded the mysterious sky ancient city. The city lord is in danger. All clansmen, go back and help. Every voice was like thunder that spread in all directions. What? The mysterious sky ancient city is in danger. These damned humans, let's go. All the blood demons who heard this immediately rushed back to the mysterious sky ancient city at full speed. Every one of them was filled with murderous intent. Chapter 2592. At this moment, Qin Feiyang had also returned to the mysterious sky ancient city. But he did not appear on the battlefield. He hid on a mountain peak and concealed his aura, watching the battlefield from afar. The second activation of the concealment technique had reached its time limit. In other words, about 2 hours had passed since the start of the battle. In the end, none of the blood demons in the mysterious sky ancient city managed to escape. They all died at the hands of the young woman and the others. On the human side, except for the burly man who was killed by the one-eyed giant, there were no casualties. After the massacre, the young woman and the others did not participate in the battle between the one-eyed giant and Wu Baichuan. However, tens of thousands of people gathered in the void and surrounded the one-eyed giant, not giving him any chance to escape. In the middle, the one-eyed giant and Wu Baichuan were also locked in battle. After about 2 hours of fierce battle, the one-eyed giant's blood-red armor was already full of holes and was on the verge of collapse. But in comparison, Wu Baichuan's injuries were more serious. His body was dripping with blood. The wounds were so deep that bones could be seen. In terms of strength, Wu Baichuan was indeed a lot weaker than the one-eyed giant. Strange. Looking at Wu Baichuan on the battlefield, Qin Feiyang gradually frowned. One had to know. Wu Baichuan only had the Sky Piercer, which was a supreme divine weapon. But the one-eyed giant had 2 supreme divine weapons, the armor and the giant axe. If it were any other peak 9 heavens realm, even if they also had a supreme divine weapon like the Sky Piercer, they would probably have died under the one-eyed giant's axe. But Wu Baichuan could not only hold on until now, but even the armor on the one-eyed giant's body was about to be destroyed. It was even possible. Once the blood-red armor was completely destroyed, the one-eyed giant would lose the protection of the armor and Wu Baichuan could still turn the tables. This did not make sense. Moreover, the one-eyed giant's body and strength were also far superior to Wu Baichuan's. Logically speaking, Wu Baichuan should have been defeated long ago. How did he do it? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang noticed that there was an additional pattern between Wu Baichuan's eyebrows. This pattern was in the shape of an armor, and it emitted strands of divine light. What is that? Qin Feiyang muttered. He had been with Wu Baichuan for a few days, but he had never seen that mysterious pattern. Rumble. Crack. The battle between the two became more and more intense. The tens of thousands of people around were also shocked to see Wu Baichuan become more and more courageous as he fought. Why do I feel that this Wu Baichuan is like an unkillable cockroach? Cockroach? Brat, are you courting death? How dare you compare him to Xiao Chang? Do you know what the consequences will be if he hears this? Isn't that just a metaphor? Not even a metaphor. Yes, yes, yes. I'll be more careful next time. But it's true that he can't be killed. Look, his injuries are so serious, but he's getting more and more powerful. He doesn't seem to be weakened at all. Several people standing at the back of the crowd discussed in low voices. You don't understand. There's a reason why Wuxia can hold on until now. Suddenly, a disciple of the Dragon God Palace turned his head to look at those people and asked. What's the reason? Several people looked at him curiously. Wuxia has activated a type of battle soul. This battle soul has a very terrifying talent that can weaken the opponent's attack by half. That disciple of the Dragon God Palace said. What? It can weaken half of the opponent's attack. Brother, you're not fooling us, are you? Several people were shocked. Why would I fool you? Wuxia and I are both disciples of the Eastern Dragon God Palace. I'm sure I know his means better than you. Do you see the pattern between his eyebrows? That's the sign of activating a talent. That disciple of the Dragon God Palace said. I see. So even though it seems like he's taking all of the one-eyed giant's attack, it's actually only half of it. Several people said. That's right. Wuxia's means aren't limited to just this. As long as the armor on the one-eyed giant is broken, he'll only be tortured by Wuxia. The disciple of the Dragon God Palace looked at Wu Baichuan with admiration and shouted, Wuxia, you can definitely kill him. Of course. I, Wu Baichuan, live up to my name. Wu Baichuan smiled proudly. Clang! The halberd suddenly flew out of his hand and collided with the axe in the one-eyed giant's hand, causing sparks to fly. At the same time, Wu Baichuan waved his hand and the mysterious sky ancient city appeared. It instantly became a few hundred feet tall and crashed into the one-eyed giant like a mountain. With a loud crack, the blood-red armor on the Cyclops' body finally reached its limit and shattered into pieces. Poof! The one-eyed giant was also sent flying and smashed into the ground below. Blood gushed out of his mouth. Is the mysterious sky ancient city that strong? Are you kidding? The mysterious sky ancient city is a supreme-grade divine artifact. How can it not be strong? Wu Baichuan also knows how to seize the opportunity. He only used the mysterious sky ancient city when the armor reached its limit. Not only did it completely shatter the armor, but it also dealt a fatal blow to the one-eyed giant. Everyone was full of admiration. But in their hearts, their desire for the mysterious sky ancient city was even stronger. Who wouldn't want such a supreme-grade divine artifact? But at the same time, they were more and more wary of Wu Baichuan. Wu Baichuan with the sky piercer was already very terrifying. Now that he had the mysterious sky ancient city, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. Although there were more than 10,000 people present, no one was confident that they could defeat Wu Baichuan. So what if your physical body is strong? Aren't you still an ant? Wu Baichuan looked down at the one-eyed giant with disdain. The sky piercer and the mysterious sky ancient city, these two supreme-grade divine artifacts, floated around him, exuding a destructive aura. The one-eyed giant got up and roared at the sky. The evil sun immediately released a beam of blood-red light. In just a few seconds, the one-eyed giant's injuries were healed. It's healed just like that. This is too unreasonable. Everyone looked at the one-eyed giant in astonishment, feeling extremely unbalanced. Why was this blood demon able to obtain the mercy of the evil sun? Your strength is indeed not simple. But you're daydreaming if you want to kill me. I have plenty of time to waste with you. When night falls, it will be your doomsday. The one-eyed giant smiled malevolently. He put away the blood-red armor fragment and charged at Wu Baichuan with his blood-red axe. Wu Baichuan couldn't help but frown. If it really dragged on until night time, it would be difficult to deal with. The blood demon at night was too terrifying. It seemed that he couldn't continue to act tough. He had to end this quickly. Everyone, attack with me and kill him. With that thought, Wu Baichuan roared without turning his head. Everyone was stunned. He actually asked them to help. But it made sense. The blood demon could borrow the power of the evil sun. If they couldn't kill the one-eyed giant, they could quickly recover no matter how serious their injuries were. This way, the blood demon could really drag on until night time. The blood demon would only show its true fangs at night. Let's attack and end this quickly. The young woman and the others shouted. Everyone nodded. Boom! Waves of divine power surged out. Countless divine arts appeared in the sky. There were perfect divine arts. There were peak-grade divine arts. There were also legendary divine arts. The void here was suddenly filled with an aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. At the same time, Wu Baichuan also activated the Sky Halberd and the mysterious Sky Ancient City. The aura of these two supreme-grade divine arts was even more terrifying. The void within tens of thousands of miles started to crack and collapse at this moment. The earth also shook violently and kept sinking. Abyssal cracks appeared and extended toward the end of the world. It was like the end of the world. The beasts hiding in the depths of the area all fled in panic. Qin Feiyang was also retreating. Tens of thousands of people attacked together, and the weakest of them was at the half-step ninth heaven realm. They also had two supreme-grade divine artifacts. If they didn't retreat quickly, they would definitely be affected. Die! Wu Baichuan smiled coldly. As he waved his hand, the two supreme-grade divine artifacts immediately charged toward the one-eyed giant. As soon as Wu Baichuan attacked, the others also waved their hands. Countless divine arts streaked across the sky and blasted toward the one-eyed giant. I'm immortal! The one-eyed giant roared. He didn't intend to dodge at all. He raised the giant axe in his hand and charged forward. Boom! The two collided. The moment the blood-colored giant axe collided with the Sky Halberd, the two supreme-grade divine artifacts, it directly flew out of the one-eyed giant's hand and shattered into pieces. Then, countless divine arts instantly drowned the one-eyed giant. Roar! Even the one-eyed giant's physical body couldn't withstand the attack of so many divine arts. Especially when there were 500 to 600 perfection ninth heaven realm cultivators among them. The one-eyed giant's physical body kept shattering, and blood splattered across the sky. He kept roaring. On one hand, it was because of the pain. On the other hand, it was because he was summoning the power of the evil sun Whoosh. The evil sun in the sky sent down beams of blood-colored light to repair his physical body. However, even though the evil sun's healing ability was heaven-defying, it couldn't heal the one-eyed giant's injuries. Because there were too many divine arts. The destructive power was too terrifying. Even the evil sun's power couldn't repair it in time. Again. Wu Baichuan roared. The tens of thousands of people cast divine arts again. This time, the one-eyed giant was definitely going to die. Even the evil sun was useless. I can't accept this. Why did I believe these despicable humans? Not only did I give the mysterious Sky Ancient City to them, but I also killed my people. It's all my fault. You damned beasts, I'll take you down with me. The one-eyed giant roared angrily. A destructive aura suddenly rushed out of his body. What? He's going to self-destruct. Wu Baichuan and the others' expressions changed. A perfection ninth heaven realm cultivator self-destructing? This was no joke. It was enough to kill all of them in an instant. City Lord, don't self-destruct. Hang in there, we're back. Suddenly, a roar of anger rolled over. The one-eyed giant froze, then a trace of ecstasy appeared on his face. He quickly stopped self-destructing and summoned the power of the evil sun to resist the destructive power of the countless divine arts. Damn it! Why did they come back? Wu Baichuan and the others were both shocked and furious. You damned humans, go to hell. The angry roar sounded again. The owner of this voice was the blood-eyed giant at the Perfection Ninth Heaven realm who had rushed back first. Before he arrived, the supreme-grade divine artifact had already arrived. A terrifying power swept out in all directions. In the blink of an eye, several hundred people were smashed into pieces by the utmost exalted level god weapon. Not even their bones remained. Chapter 2593. Wu Shixiang. The young woman and the others panicked. Retreat. Wu Baichuan ordered decisively. The fact that a blood-eyed giant had returned meant that this matter had been exposed. The other blood-eyed demons must be on their way back as well. However, he didn't understand why the blood-eyed demons had received the news so quickly. Everyone, retreat. The young woman and the others immediately yelled. Everyone immediately turned around and dashed into the mountains. Don't even think about leaving today. The blood-eyed giant at the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm was like a demon god as he flew through the air with a powerful aura. The supreme-grade divine weapon was so sharp that several hundred people died on the spot. Wu Baichuan and the others didn't even look back as they fled. Damn humans! However, another blood-eyed giant at the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm appeared in the sky. Behind him was a group of blood-eyed giants at the half-step to the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm. There were several hundred of them. How dare they hurt the city lord and kill our people? Brothers, kill them all. Every blood-eyed giant looked at the mysterious heaven ancient city that had disappeared and the blood-eyed demon corpses on the ground. They were filled with grief and anger. Clang! The blood-eyed giant at the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm took out his supreme-grade divine weapon and charged at Wu Baichuan and the others who were at the front. Scram! Wu Baichuan yelled. The mysterious heaven ancient city and the sky piercer attacked. With a loud boom, the supreme-grade divine weapon of the blood-eyed giant was sent flying. The blood-eyed giant spat out a mouthful of blood. However, at the same time, the blood-eyed giant at the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm charged from behind. The supreme-grade divine weapon instantly killed a large number of people. Kill! The blood-eyed giants at the half-step to the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm all took out their peak-grade divine weapons and legendary divine weapons and charged into the crowd. A chaotic battle started. The humans could only be slaughtered by the blood demons at the Great Perfection Nine Heavens realm. Only Wu Baichuan and a group of peak Nine Heavens realm cultivators could compete with them. Wu Baichuan stared at the two Ninth Heaven realm blood-eyed giants, and said solemnly, "To catch bandits, first catch the leader, kill them first." All right. The young woman and the others nodded. Immediately, the group of Nine Heavens realm cultivators split into two groups and charged towards the two blood-eyed giants. Facing 500 to 600 Perfection Nine Heavens realm cultivators, the two blood-eyed giants immediately fell into danger. In an instant, his arms and legs were broken, and he was drenched in blood. Kill! Suddenly, with a furious roar, another two blood-eyed giants at the Great Perfection of the Nine Heavens realm hurried over with over 1,000 blood-eyed demons. They immediately joined the battlefield. The two blood-eyed giants at the Great Perfection stage of the Nine Heavens realm did not care about the others. They took out their supreme-grade divine artifacts and went straight for Wu Baichuan. Wu Baichuan also fell into a bitter battle. Because now, he was facing 3 supreme-grade divine artifacts alone. The battle was becoming more and more chaotic. There were corpses and broken limbs everywhere. There were humans and blood-eyed demons. The entire world was shrouded in killing. At the same time, the one-eyed giant used the power of the evil sun to withstand the attacks of countless divine arts. however. He had also paid a great price for it. His physical body was almost shattered, and his divine soul was almost annihilated. But he did not care. Because the power of the evil sun could help him repair his physical body and divine soul. He stood high in the sky and looked down at the battlefield, his eyes filled with intense killing intent. About 100 breaths later, his physical body and divine soul were finally repaired. His physical body and divine soul were repaired in 100 breaths of time. Although this speed was not as fast as the evil moon at night, it was still terrifying. Human, prepare to face my wrath. The one-eyed giant roared and charged towards the battlefield with a murderous aura. He was like a violent ape, grabbing a person at the peak of the 9 heavens realm and pulling with both hands. That person was torn to pieces on the spot. Although the blood-red axe and armor were broken, his own strength was enough to crush all the humans at the peak 9 heavens realm. City Lord, we're back. Clansmen, kill them. Leave no one alive. The blood-eyed demons who had gone out rushed back one after another to join the battle. Especially those blood-eyed giants at the peak 9 heavens realm. They had supreme-level auxiliary divine arts and supreme-level divine artifacts. They could kill anything in their way. On the human side, other than Wu Baichuan, no one else had supreme-level divine artifacts and divine arts. They were naturally no match for such ferocious and powerful blood-eyed demons. Even Wu Baichuan, who had 2 supreme-level divine artifacts, could not stop the blood-eyed giants. As all the blood-eyed demons rushed back, the situation immediately reversed. Before, it was Wu Baichuan and the others who were slaughtering the blood-eyed demons. Now, it was the blood-eyed demons who were crazily slaughtering Wu Baichuan and the others. There were more than 10,000 people, but now, there were less than 100 left. Although the blood-eyed demons also suffered casualties, it was not worth mentioning compared to the human casualties. Wu Shixiang, what should we do? The remaining 100 or so people stood back to back and looked at the blood-eyed demons around them with despair. Actually, some of them were missing arms or legs. Even Wu Baichuan had lost an arm. This was fatal for humans. Because humans could not summon the power of the evil sun like the blood-eyed demons. Even if it was a divine-level divine pill of life, it would still take some time to recover. But now, it was not a situation where healing could defy the heavens. Because none of the 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak 9 heavens realm had died. There was still the one-eyed giant who was even more terrifying than them. Also, the other blood-eyed demons were at the half 9 heavens realm. There were more than 20,000 of them. The most important thing was, they had all recovered with the help of the evil sun and were now in peak condition. I've already given you the mysterious sky ancient city. Why are you still killing my people? Are promises and oaths so worthless in the eyes of you humans? The one-eyed giant clenched his fists and glared at the group. The group was extremely panicked. We blood-eyed demons are the most honest and believe in promises and oaths the most. We even value oaths more than our lives. Because in our eyes, an oath is a form of dignity. But you humans can't even keep the most basic integrity. You don't deserve to be human. The one-eyed giant shouted. The 20 blood-eyed giants immediately activated their supreme-level divine artifacts and charged toward the group. Don't move, or we'll self-destruct and die with you. And if we self-destruct, the mysterious sky ancient city will also be destroyed. Wu Baichuan panicked and shouted. The 20 blood-eyed giants frowned. Seeing this, Wu Baichuan immediately became confident and said, I can return the mysterious sky ancient city to you, but you have to let us go. Do you think it's possible to kill tens of thousands of my people? The one-eyed giant said with a hideous smile. But you also killed tens of thousands of our people. Wu Baichuan said in a deep voice. That's because you deserve to die. The Nether King's hell was originally a pure land, but because of the arrival of the dragons and you humans, now it's all about killing. Can't you just stay outside and live a good life? Why do you have to come to our Nether King's hell? The one-eyed giant roared with deep disgust in his eyes. Wu Baichuan and the others were speechless. Return the mysterious sky ancient city to me, and I promise you that I'll leave your corpses intact. We blood-eyed demons are the most honest. We will definitely do what we say. The one-eyed giant said. What's the use of leaving your corpses intact when you're already dead? Wu Baichuan sneered. The one-eyed giant said, so, you want to resist to the end? Try it. You have time, and we also have a lot of time to waste. Wu Baichuan sneered. A lot of time. The one-eyed giant immediately laughed. The other blood-eyed demons also sneered. What are you laughing at? Wu Baichuan and the others raised their eyebrows. Don't you know that outsiders like you can only stay in the Nether King's hell for 1,000 years? The one-eyed giant said. What? We can only stay for 1,000 years. The group of people was shocked. It seems that you really don't know. That's not right. If the dragons knew about this, why didn't they tell you? Are you also enemies with the dragons? The one-eyed giant looked at the group curiously. Wu Baichuan said in a deep voice, tell me clearly, why can you only stay for 1,000 years? Because this is the rule of the Nether King's hell. If you haven't left the Nether King's hell after 1,000 years, the evil power of the evil moon will descend and crush you. And there is only one exit in the Nether King's hell. This exit is in the mythical square, located in the mythical forest at the end of the west. With your speed, even if you can reach the mythical square unimpeded, it will take you 100 years. Now, do you still think you have time to waste with us? The one-eyed giant laughed, his face full of ridicule. Damn it! Why didn't the dragons tell us such an important thing? The young woman and the others were not dead. At this moment, when they heard the one-eyed giant's words, their faces were filled with anger. The dragons, they're trying to kill us. Someone sighed. And Qin Feiyang was also lurking nearby and heard the one-eyed giant's words. It couldn't be helped. These blood demons' voices were too loud. It was difficult not to hear them. Hearing this, he was also quite shocked. He didn't expect the dragons to be hiding such a secret. If they hadn't heard it from the one-eyed giant, they probably wouldn't have known what was going on until they died. The heart of the dragon race was truly murderous. Because just this point alone was enough to kill everyone. Wu Baichuan's face was also extremely gloomy. He looked at the one-eyed giant and said, so what if what you said is true? Anyway, you won't let us go. We might as well slowly waste time. This time, there were many people entering the Nether King's hell. As long as they wasted time, they might be able to wait for reinforcements and find a chance to escape. Okay. If you want to waste time, we will waste time with you. The one-eyed giant smiled sinisterly and shouted, everyone, retreat. Swish. Of course. A group of blood demons retreated like lightning and stood at a safe distance, surrounding Wu Baichuan and the others. Chapter 2594. Wu Shixiang, are we really going to drag this out? The young woman and the others looked at the blood demons in the distance and were very anxious. What else? Do you have any good ideas? Wu Baichuan said angrily. They shook their heads. Then shut up. Wu Baichuan glared fiercely at them, pondering a question in his heart. These 9 Heavens Realm blood demons had clearly left, but why did they all come back? Could it be that the battle had alarmed them? But that was impossible. All these years, he had been monitoring the blood demons' every move. He waited until the blood demons left and were far away from the mysterious Heaven Ancient City, so they couldn't sense the battle here. Could someone have tipped them off? That couldn't be right. How could humans help the blood demons? Was it the nearby beasts? Wu Baichuan's mind was in a mess. On the other side. My lord, you don't have to blame yourself. Yes, you handed over the mysterious heaven ancient city to protect your people. You can only blame these humans for being too despicable. They didn't even keep their oath. If Lord Dark King wants to pursue this matter, we'll help you explain. The 20 blood-eyed giants at the Great Perfection Ninth Heaven's realm surrounded the Cyclops and consoled him. Sigh. The Cyclops sighed and asked, "Why did you come back so quickly?" One of the blood-eyed giants glanced at Wu Baichuan and the others and said through voice transmission, "A human secretly informed us." What? A human? The Cyclops paused. Yes. I didn't believe it at first, but then a dozen people told me that they saw a human appear with their own eyes and told them about the situation in the mysterious heaven ancient city. The blood-eyed giant thought. Strange. Why would a human help us? The Cyclops was puzzled. I don't know. I only heard his voice at that time, but I didn't see his body. Why don't I bring those clansmen here, and you can ask them yourself? The blood-eyed giant asked. Okay. The Cyclops nodded. The blood-eyed giant immediately looked up and scanned the surrounding blood demons. Suddenly, he looked at a Nine Heavens realm blood-eyed giant and waved his hand. Come here. The giant hurriedly ran over. The Cyclops asked, Did you see that human with your own eyes? What human? The blood-eyed giant was puzzled. The one-eyed giant replied, The one who gave you the information. Yes, yes, yes. At that time, we were chasing after a few humans, and that person suddenly appeared. At first, we thought that he was their accomplice. But I didn't expect him to tell us that the ancient city is in trouble and ask us to rush back to help. The crimson-eyed giant said. Did the humans really help us? The Cyclops was stunned. At that time, the people we were chasing seemed to know this person. What's his name? The blood-eyed giant pondered. Speak softly. The one-eyed giant glanced at Wu Baichuan's group and thought to himself. The blood-eyed giant nodded and said, I remember now. Those humans called him Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang. The Cyclops frowned. And from the looks of it, this Qin Feiyang has a high status in the human world. Because when the people we were chasing saw this Qin Feiyang, it was as if they saw their savior. But strangely, this Qin Feiyang didn't save them. After notifying us, he disappeared. The blood-eyed giant said. Disappeared? The Cyclops was stunned. The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the Ninth Heaven's realm were also shocked. Yes. He disappeared into thin air. As if he had disappeared from the world. At first, we wanted to kill him, but we couldn't find him at all. Not even his aura. The blood-eyed giant nodded. So strange. The Cyclops and the 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the Ninth Heaven's realm looked at each other. Later, we returned to the mysterious heaven ancient city, and as he said, the humans were killing our people. The blood-eyed giant said. What does this Qin Feiyang mean? As a human, why did he help us instead of his companions? The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the Ninth Heaven's realm couldn't help but frown. The blood-eyed demons always repay favors. No matter what his intentions are, it's an indisputable fact that he helped us. If you see him again, be polite to him. It's best if you can invite him to the blood-eyed demons. I want to thank him in person and ask him why. The Cyclops said. Yes. The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the Ninth Heaven's realm nodded respectfully. Pay attention to integrity and keep promises, back to Qin Feiyang. At this moment, he looked at the blood-eyed demons and couldn't help but smile. Although he didn't hear what the Cyclops said about being grateful, he had heard every single word of the conversation with Wu Baichuan at the beginning. He believed in promises and oaths, paid attention to integrity. He even valued oaths more than his life. An oath is a form of dignity. Every word he said made people look at him differently. To be honest, the blood-eyed demons were really good people. Because in the human world, integrity and promises were the cheapest things. This also proved that he didn't make the wrong decision. The blood-eyed demons were worth helping. Time passed quietly. Night fell and the evil moon rose. At this moment, Wu Baichuan and the others had recovered from their injuries. But because of the arrival of night, they were even more nervous and vigilant. Because the blood-eyed demons at night were powerful enough to make people despair. However, the blood-eyed demons didn't seem to have any intention of attacking. They really wanted to waste time with them. In the blink of an eye. It was already early in the morning. After midnight, Qin Feiyang could activate the concealment technique again. A blood-eyed giant at the peak of the ninth heaven's realm looked up at the evil moon and whispered, "Lord, why don't we attack?" "Don't. If they really self-destruct, our clansmen will be implicated." The Cyclops waved his hand. For the blood-eyed demons, 1,000 years was just a blink of an eye. As long as he could ensure the safety of his clansmen, he didn't care how long it took. To be honest, it's not a good idea for you to continue wasting time like this. Suddenly, a voice was transmitted into the minds of the Cyclops and the 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the ninth heaven's realm. The Cyclops was startled. "Lord, it's him. This voice, it's that human, Qin Feiyang." One of the blood-eyed giants at the peak of the ninth heaven's realm was startled and hurriedly transmitted his voice. "What?" The Cyclops immediately scanned the surroundings, but he didn't see any human at all. "Stop looking, you can't see me." Qin Feiyang was standing next to the Cyclops at this moment. "Why are you helping us?" The Cyclops asked in a low voice. "At first, it was just out of sympathy. But then I found out that the blood-eyed demons aren't as scary as I thought. Furthermore, I admire your characters. How about it? Can we be friends?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Be friends?" The Cyclops was dazed. One of the blood-eyed giants at the peak of the ninth heaven's realm said in a low voice, "Just tell us what you want. Don't beat around the bush. I admit that I wanted to rob the mysterious heaven ancient city at first. But now, I've changed my mind. I think being friends with you is the wisest choice. After all, the blood-eyed demons are the overlords of the Nether King Hell. There's no benefit in being enemies with you." Qin Feiyang said faintly. "You're pretty smart." The blood-eyed giant sneered. "A wise man submits to circumstances." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "So, you don't really want to be friends with us. You're just afraid of us and want to survive in the Nether King Hell, so you're willing to compromise?" The Cyclops said with a frown. "I can't deny that. But I, Qin Feiyang, don't make friends with people casually. First of all, I like your character. If your character isn't good, even if you're the Lord of Heaven and Earth, I won't care. So, I'm sincere in being friends with you. Of course. Now, you definitely won't believe the words of a human. Let's let time prove it. After all, I'm only a greater success paragon god. I'm no threat to you. If you find out that I have ulterior motives, you can just kill me." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The Cyclops and the blood-eyed giants looked at each other in silence for a long time. Every race in the world has good and bad. It's the same for humans. Simply put, we humans aren't all bad. Why can't you give me a chance and give yourselves a chance to get to know each other?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The Cyclops said, "So, you're saying that you're a good person among humans?" "No. I'm not a good person. In fact, I'm even more ruthless than Wu Baichuan and the others. But I'm only ruthless toward my enemies." Qin Feiyang said. "You're quite straightforward." The Cyclops said. "Isn't it good to be straightforward?" Qin Feiyang asked. The Cyclops was silent. Qin Feiyang waited for a while and asked, "How about it? Try to get along." The Cyclops didn't answer directly. Just now, you said that it's not a good idea to waste time with them. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang said, do you know how many humans have entered the Nether King's hell this time? The Cyclops shook his head. Actually, I don't know either because I'm the first one to come here. But I estimate that there are at least tens of millions. And many of them are at the peak 9 heavens stage. There's even an imperishable stage expert hiding among them. If we keep wasting time, won't something happen if someone comes here? The mysterious sky ancient city should be very important to you. Are you willing to let Wu Baichuan take it away? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. So many people. The Cyclops was dumbfounded. That's right. And that's not counting the dragons. Qin Feiyang said. Then tell me, how can we take back the mysterious sky ancient city from them? The Cyclops asked in a low voice. For me, it's a very simple matter as long as you cooperate with me. Qin Feiyang said. Chapter 2595. Simple. The Cyclops was slightly taken aback. He pondered for a moment and asked, how? Have Wu Baichuan take out the mysterious heaven ancient city? Qin Feiyang said. The mysterious sky ancient city had been absorbed into Wu Baichuan's body. Therefore, the first step in seizing the mysterious sky ancient city was to get Wu Baichuan to take it out of his body. Take out the mysterious heaven ancient city. The Cyclops glanced at Wu Baichuan and said in a low voice, if we do it too deliberately, he'll be suspicious. That's right. I've been with Wu Baichuan for a few days, and he's a very alert person. So we can't be too deliberate. Also, the mysterious heaven ancient city has already recognized him as its master. Even if I get it, it'll be hard for me to come back because he can revive the mysterious heaven ancient city. So one of your clansmen at the peak of the 9 heavens realm has to come with me. Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice. Come with you. What if you're in cahoots with them? Wouldn't we be walking into a trap if we go with you? A blood-eyed giant at the peak of the 9 heavens realm said with a frown. If I'm in cahoots with them, why would I hide in the dark and help you? Qin Feiyang said. The blood-eyed giant was speechless for a moment. He snorted and said, then who knows what you're planning? Since you're suspicious, why don't you use this chance to prove it and see if I'm harboring evil intentions? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Okay. I'll go with you. The blood-eyed giant nodded. Okay. Retreat to the back. I'll make you invisible. Qin Feiyang said. The blood-eyed giant immediately retreated to the back and avoided the sight of Wu Baichuan and the others. Qin Feiyang grabbed the blood-eyed giant's arm, and the giant disappeared. So magical. The Cyclops' eyes lit up. I disappeared just like that. The blood-eyed giant was shocked by the reaction of the Cyclops and his clansmen. That's right. You're invisible. No one can see you. Qin Feiyang smiled. The blood-eyed giant shuddered and hurriedly turned to look at Qin Feiyang. He couldn't help but frown when he saw Qin Feiyang's friendly expression. Old Ten, are you there? The Cyclops glanced at the space where the blood-eyed giant had disappeared and asked in a low voice. Sir, I'm here. The blood-eyed giant hurriedly replied. It's good that you are here. The Cyclops sighed in relief. He can really turn invisible. What kind of divine art is this? There are countless god techniques in hell, but I have never seen such a mystical god technique. The other 19 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the 9 heavens realm couldn't help but mutter. Qin Feiyang gazed at the blood-eyed giant and said, once we take the ancient city of Dark Heaven, you must immediately wipe out Wu Baichuan's blood contract. Understand? Understood. The blood-eyed giant nodded. Qin Feiyang brought the blood-eyed giant back to the Cyclops and asked, City Lord, have you thought of a plan? Yes. The Cyclops nodded. All right. Lure him out of the ancient city of dark heaven in 10 breaths. After saying this, Qin Feiyang flew towards Wu Baichuan's group with the blood-eye giant. Their speed wasn't very fast. 5 breaths later, the two silently landed next to Wu Baichuan. They can't sense us even though we're so close. The blood-eye giant was even more surprised when he saw that Wu Baichuan's group didn't react. As long as you don't make a sound or release your aura, he won't notice you even if you appear in front of him. Qin Feiyang smiled inwardly. Soon. 10 breaths passed. The Cyclops coughed and looked up at Wu Baichuan. He said loudly, "Human, do you know what kind of divine item the ancient city of dark heaven is?" "Hm." Wu Baichuan was stunned and looked suspiciously at the Cyclops. "Take out the ancient city of dark heaven and look carefully at the palace in the center." The Cyclops said. "The palace in the center?" Wu Baichuan frowned. The Cyclops said, "The palace I live in." "What do you mean?" Wu Baichuan didn't take out the ancient city of dark heaven and asked in confusion. "A frog at the bottom of a well." After saying this, the Cyclops didn't say anything else. Wu Baichuan's curiosity was piqued. Seeing that the Cyclops didn't intend to explain, he took out the ancient city of dark heaven. He looked directly at the palace in the center. At this moment, even if it was Qin Feiyang, he wouldn't be suspicious. It was impossible to enter spatial divine items in the Nether King's hell. He didn't have to worry about someone hiding in the dark taking the opportunity to steal it. Moreover, he had already dripped his blood on the ancient city of dark heaven. Even if it was stolen, he could immediately summon it back. Wu Baichuan observed for a while and mumbled, "I didn't notice anything different." He looked up at the Cyclops and frowned. "What secret is hidden in this ancient city of dark heaven?" The Cyclops sneered and didn't answer. "Wu Shixiang will definitely fool you and make you panic. Don't believe him." The young woman said. "That makes sense." Wu Baichuan nodded and was about to put away the ancient city of dark heaven. But right then, a large hand appeared and grabbed the ancient city of dark heaven before disappearing. Wu Baichuan was stunned. What was going on? The young woman and the others were also shocked. "Who is it?" The next moment, Wu Baichuan roared. How dare they cause trouble right under his nose? He couldn't forgive them. Poof! However, the moment Wu Baichuan spoke, he spat out a mouthful of blood. He discovered that the blood contract of the ancient city of dark heaven had been forcefully erased. Damn it! Wu Baichuan roared and his aura surged. However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang had already brought the blood-eye giant back to the Cyclops' side. As Qin Feiyang released his hand, the blood-eye giant immediately appeared beside the Cyclops. The ancient city of dark heaven was in the hands of the blood-eye giant. However, Qin Feiyang was still invisible. What? It's him. He can turn invisible. Wu Baichuan and the others stared at the blood-eye giant in shock. Sir, here you are. The blood-eye giant was very excited and handed the ancient city of dark heaven to the Cyclops. All right. The Cyclops was also very excited. He grabbed the ancient city of dark heaven and dripped his blood to claim ownership. Bastard! You said we're despicable. I think you're even more despicable. Wu Baichuan roared. He finally realized that the Cyclops was purely luring him to take out the ancient city of dark heaven. We're just taking back what's ours. How can that be considered despicable? The Cyclops sneered. City Lord, don't waste your breath on them. Tell me, how do you want to die? The 20 blood-eyed giants at the Great Perfection Ninth Heaven realm all took a step forward and looked at the group with murderous intent. The young woman and the others immediately panicked. However, Wu Baichuan didn't panic. He sneered. So what if you've taken back the ancient city of dark heaven? We can still self-destruct. Try to kill us if you can. Haha, The blood demons immediately laughed. Wu Baichuan frowned. They were laughing. What was going on? Do you really think we're afraid of you self-destructing? No. We're only afraid that you'll self-destruct and destroy the ancient city of Dark Heaven. The 20 blood-eyed giants sneered. What? You're not afraid of us self-destructing? The group of people was startled. They weren't even afraid of self-destructing. That's right. Now that the ancient city of Dark Heaven is back in my hands, you can self-destruct as you wish. Now, I'll show you the true power of the blood demons. Step back. I'm going to kill them with my own hands. The one-eyed giant stepped forward and shouted at the other blood demons. My lord. You don't need to do anything to deal with these ants. We're enough. The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the 9th heaven's realm said. No. My people died because of me. I have to kill them with my own hands. The one-eyed giant shook his head. The 20 blood-eyed giants looked at each other and quickly retreated. The other blood demons also retreated into the distance. As for Qin Feiyang, he also retreated far away. Roar. The one-eyed giant raised his head and roared. His body immediately swelled up and blood-red hair quickly grew all over his body. A raging aura surged out from the cave. Don't be afraid. He's alone. As long as we work together, killing him won't be a problem. Seeing the flustered young woman and the others, Wu Baichuan hurriedly comforted them and took out his sky piercer. Yes, yes, yes. We still have a chance. Everyone, stay calm. The young woman also shouted. The 100 or so people immediately began to use their divine arts and awaken their divine artifacts to prepare for battle. In the blink of an eye, the one-eyed giant had completely transformed. At this moment, he was 500 meters tall and looked like a mountain. The hair all over his body glowed with a strong blood-red light. His eyes were like 2 blood-red moons and filled with a murderous aura. The most terrifying thing was his aura. Although this aura was still at the peak 9th heaven realm, Qin Feiyang, Wu Baichuan, and the others could clearly feel that it was much stronger than an ordinary peak 9th heaven realm blood-eyed giant. The difference between an ordinary peak 9th heaven realm blood-eyed giant and this one-eyed giant was like heaven and earth. There was also the terrifying power in his body. Before the power exploded, the space within tens of thousands of miles could not withstand it and crazily shattered and collapsed. It was hard to imagine how strong the one-eyed giant's physical body was right now. Blood for blood. All of you can go to hell. The one-eyed giant's roar was louder than thunder. It shook Wu Baichuan and the others so much that blood spurted out of their ears. Bang! He took a step forward, causing the earth to tremble and crack apart. Destructive power surged out and instantly razed the land to the ground. Kill! Wu Baichuan roared. The sky halberd fully recovered and charged toward the one-eyed giant with an earth-shattering sharpness. Kill! The young woman and more than 100 people also roared and attacked the one-eyed giant with divine arts and divine artifacts. They were all at the peak 9th heaven realm. Even though they only had the sky halberd, a supreme-level divine artifact, it was already shocking enough. However, the one-eyed giant didn't use any supreme-level divine arts or divine artifacts. He didn't even counterattack. Boom! Clang! In an instant, the divine arts and divine artifacts all hit the one-eyed giant. Isn't he too arrogant? In the distance. When Qin Feiyang saw this scene, he couldn't help but frown. Although the one-eyed giant's energy was very strong, it wasn't wise to use his physical body to fight against divine arts and divine artifacts, especially the sky halberd, which was a supreme-level divine artifact. After all, Wu Baichuan and the others were at the peak 9th heaven realm like the one-eyed giant. Chapter 2596. However, the following scene caused Qin Feiyang to be stupefied. The divine weapons and divine incantations of the group only managed to scratch the surface of the one-eyed giant. Even the sky halberd, a supreme-level divine weapon, only left a 1-meter-long wound on the one-eyed giant's body. A human being would have been seriously injured by a 1-meter-long wound. But one had to know. The one-eyed giant was now 500 meters tall. This wound was like a scratch to him. It didn't hurt at all. Is his body so strong after the transformation? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Wu Baichuan and the others were also dumbfounded. More than 100 peak ninth heaven cultivators attacked with all their strength, but it only caused a minor injury. How strong was the one-eyed giant's body after the transformation? At this moment, everyone could not help but feel a sense of despair. However, the surrounding blood demons had sealed off all paths of retreat. There was simply nowhere to run. Wu Shixiang, I don't want to die. Please, think of a way to get us out of here. The young woman and the others looked at Wu Baichuan helplessly. Wu Baichuan looked gloomy. Get out of here. Don't even think about it. Even if I allow it, my people won't allow it. The one-eyed giant took a step forward and threw a punch at Wu Baichuan and the others. It was simple and violent. That fist was like a small mountain, and it was filled with an imposing aura. Block it. Wu Baichuan shouted and the sky halberd rushed forward. Clang. In an instant, the fist and the sky halberd collided and the sky halberd was knocked away. The one-eyed giant's fist didn't stop at all. Hurry up and attack. What are you waiting for? Wu Baichuan roared. The young woman and the others weren't in a daze. They were scared out of their wits. However, after Wu Baichuan roared, the group of people immediately activated their divine weapons and performed their divine arts. Boom! Clang! Following closely, hundreds of divine arts and divine weapons were thrown at the one-eyed giant's fist. Faced with so many divine weapons and divine arts, if it were any other peak 9 heavens realm cultivator, they would definitely flee immediately. Because this was enough to kill everything in an instant. However, the one-eyed giant did not seem to care at all. He smashed his fist down. Crack! Immediately, the god weapons and god arts shattered one after another. That was right. That was to shatter. Even a legendary divine artifact was not spared and shattered into pieces. Not to mention the peak level and peak level divine artifacts, not even a scrap was left. Terrifying. Qin Feiyang mumbled. The power displayed by the one-eyed giant was enough to sweep away all living beings of the same level. Perhaps only heaven-defying divine weapons and divine arts could kill him. It seemed like he had made the right choice. Befriending the blood demon race was the wisest choice. Is he a devil? So ridiculously strong. The young woman and her group once again fell into the abyss of despair. They even forgot that the one-eyed giant's fist was coming towards them. However, Wu Baichuan did not panic. He glanced at the young woman and her group with flickering eyes. Qin Feiyang looked at Wu Baichuan in surprise. How could he still be so calm? Boom! The one-eyed giant's fist struck. Wu Baichuan immediately grabbed the sky halberd and retreated like lightning. The young woman and the others also quickly followed. Hey! Wu Baichuan grinned and waved the sky halberd in his hand. A destructive aura flashed towards the young woman and the others. That was right. He wasn't attacking the one-eyed giant, but the young woman and the others. Wu Shixiang, what are you doing? The young woman said furiously. You're all at the peak 9 heaven state, but you're useless. What's the point of keeping you alive? Wu Baichuan said with disdain. You bastard. The group of people was furious, but there was nothing they could do. The sky halberd in Wu Baichuan's hand could erase all the thoughts in their hearts. A supreme-level divine weapon was like an unsurpassable god of war. There was the sky halberd in front of them and the one-eyed giant's fist behind them. They could be smashed into pieces in an instant. The group of people was desperate to the extreme. Wu Baichuan, you bastard, you want to kill us. Don't even think about escaping. Let's die together. Suddenly, one of the men in black suddenly roared and a destructive aura rushed out of his body. Self-detonation. However, seeing the man in black explode, Wu Baichuan's eyes showed a trace of a smile. But the young woman and the others were terrified. We have no choice but to self-detonate. The man in black sighed. The group of people fell silent. The next moment, a destructive aura rushed out of everyone's body. Their faces were extremely sad. They couldn't blame anyone but themselves for choosing to collude with a villain like Wu Baichuan. This was the consequence of choosing the wrong person. However, the one-eyed giant had no intention of dodging. Boom! The group of people finally self-detonated. A wave of chi that could destroy the world suddenly surged out in all directions, and covered the sky and covered the earth. Whoosh! At the same time, a dazzling blood light emerged from Wu Baichuan's body. Immediately after, Wu Baichuan turned and broke through the air like a bolt of lightning. Where are you going? The one-eyed giant shouted and wanted to chase. But the destructive power of the self-detonation of the young woman and the others sent him flying on the spot. Stop him! The one-eyed giant roared. The blood demons in the distance immediately transformed and their cultivation soared. With just you guys? Wu Baichuan smiled disdainfully. His speed suddenly soared. It was so fast that even the naked eye couldn't catch him. Like a ghost, he passed through the blood demon's encirclement in an instant and disappeared into the night sky without looking back. Why did he suddenly become so fast? The blood demons were stunned. Qin Feiyang also looked in the direction where Wu Baichuan disappeared in shock. The speed that Wu Baichuan just displayed was already far beyond the ninth heaven stage. How did he do it? Could it be a heaven-defying divine art? But that wasn't right. Hell didn't allow heaven-defying divine arts to be activated. Wait a minute. Blood light. Qin Feiyang suddenly recalled the blood light that appeared on Wu Baichuan's body before. This seemed to be very similar to a forbidden technique. In other words, Wu Baichuan's sudden increase in speed was most likely because he had activated a god-level forbidden technique. Qin Feiyang looked at the one-eyed giant again. The one-eyed giant was also covered in blood and flesh after being submerged by the air waves from the group of people's self-detonation. However, it didn't look fatal. Because the one-eyed giant didn't fall. He stood in the void like a demon god, looking in the direction where Wu Baichuan disappeared with a fierce look in his eyes. He's fine. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but smile bitterly. He knew. This was the self-detonation of more than 109th heaven stage cultivators at the same time. This power was enough to wipe out everything. But the one-eyed giant was completely fine. This physical body was so strong that it was really unreasonable. Roar! Suddenly, the one-eyed giant roared and a blood light fell from the evil moon and merged into his body. The injuries on his body were instantly healed. Immediately after, the one-eyed giant waved his hand again and forcibly calmed down the waves of self-detonation. Lord, should we chase? The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the ninth heavens realm immediately flew in front of the Cyclops and asked. The one-eyed giant was silent. Chase! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's voice sounded in the void, but he didn't appear and was still invisible. The one-eyed giant looked in the direction of the voice. If I'm not wrong, this Wu Baichuan should have activated some kind of divine-level forbidden technique, which is why his speed became so fast. Usually, activating this kind of forbidden technique requires a great price, so it can't be activated forever. As long as you chase, you can definitely catch up with him. Qin Feiyang said. Then hurry up and chase. I want him alive. When the Cyclops heard this, he immediately looked at the 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the 9th heaven's realm and shouted. Yes. The 20 blood-eyed giants responded and immediately chased after Wu Baichuan with murderous intent. The one-eyed giant also returned to his original form. His hair quickly fell off and his height returned to normal. However, its 50-meter-tall body still gave people a very strong sense of oppression. Come out. The one-eyed giant scanned the void and said. Qin Feiyang immediately appeared in the void far away. Whoosh! A group of blood demons immediately surrounded Qin Feiyang with murderous intent in their eyes. Qin Feiyang glanced at the blood demons around him, then looked at the one-eyed giant and said with a faint smile, I believe that the blood demons won't do anything ungrateful. My blood demon race naturally won't. The one-eyed giant said and waved his hand at the blood demons. My lord, you have to think twice. You can't trust the words of humans. The blood demons all spoke. I know. The one-eyed giant said and took out the mysterious sky ancient city. Immediately. The palm-sized mysterious sky ancient city quickly enlarged and finally landed on the broken ground with a boom. The ancient city reappeared. In the city, corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like a river. Looking at all this, the one-eyed giant felt extremely guilty and sighed. Go and bury your clansmen. Yes. The surrounding blood demons looked at the sea of corpses in the city and couldn't help but feel sad. They entered the city one after another to collect the corpses of their clansmen. See. This is the masterpiece of you humans. It's impossible for us blood demons to get along peacefully with you humans. The one-eyed giant turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang and shook his head. Qin Feiyang walked to the one-eyed giant's side and sighed. This is war. It's unavoidable. Why can't it be avoided? As long as you humans don't come to the Nether King's hell, all of this won't happen, right? The one-eyed giant said angrily. Qin Feiyang said, then let me ask you, how many times have we humans come to the Nether King's hell? The one-eyed giant frowned and said, on a large scale. It seems to be only this time. That's right. This is the first time we humans have come to the Nether King's hell. If we really want to get to the bottom of it, this debt should be on the dragons' heads. Because it was the dragons who opened the Nether King's hell and let humans in. Qin Feiyang said. Dragons, the one-eyed giant clenched his hands, his eyes full of disgust. Qin Feiyang asked, I believe you have fought with the dragons more than once, right? That's right. The dragons have come to the Nether King's hell several times. Every time, they would snatch one or two heaven-defying divine artifacts from our blood demons. The one-eyed giant nodded. Chapter 2597. The dragons have a total of 10 heaven-defying divine artifacts. In other words, they have been to Hades' hell at least 5 times. Qin Feiyang said. The Cyclops frowned and said, how do you know so much? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, because these 10 heaven-defying divine artifacts are all in my hands now. In your hands? The Cyclops was stunned and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He said in a deep voice, you belong to the dragons. Don't get me wrong. How can I belong to the dragons? Qin Feiyang waved his hand. If they don't belong to the dragons, then why are these heaven-defying divine artifacts in your hands? The Cyclops frowned. Qin Feiyang said, could it be that you never thought that I was the one who snatched it from the hands of the dragons? You took them from the dragons? The Cyclops looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Are you kidding me? How can an ultimate god snatch a heaven-defying divine artifact from the dragons? Although my cultivation is weak, I'm still quite strong outside. Qin Feiyang smiled. I can't tell. The Cyclops shook his head. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but shake his head with a wry smile. Indeed. No one would believe that a puny ultimate god could snatch a heaven-defying divine artifact from the dragons. No matter what, the dragons are my mortal enemies. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. The reason why the dragons opened Hades' hell to humans is to deal with me. Qin Feiyang said. The more you say, the more ridiculous it is. The Cyclops was speechless. Why would the dragons make such a big fuss over a mere ultimate god human? You don't even have a draft for bragging. Why don't you believe me? Qin Feiyang said helplessly. Although I don't know how strong the dragons are, I know that the ancestral dragons are all at the eternal realm. You, a ultimate god, aren't even enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. How can I believe you? The Cyclops rolled its eyes. All right, pretend I didn't say anything. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and said, but the dragons and I are mortal enemies, you have to believe me. I won't believe anything you say until it's confirmed. The Cyclops shook his head. Qin Feiyang wanted to cry but had no tears. Every word he said was the truth. The Cyclops asked, do you know Wu Baichuan? Yes. Speaking of which, he and I belong to the same faction. Qin Feiyang nodded. The same force? The one-eyed giant was slightly taken aback. He asked suspiciously, we're from the same force. Why are you attacking him? We humans are different from you blood demons. You blood demons are united and harmonious, while we humans are selfish. Thus, even if they are in the same power, there will still be disputes. Maybe you don't understand. Put it simply. In our human world, even your family and loved ones may sometimes betray you for the sake of benefits. Qin Feiyang sighed. No way. The Cyclops was in disbelief. That's the truth. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Sometimes, he felt that humans were really pitiful. Then you humans are too complicated. The Cyclops said. This is just the tip of the iceberg. In short, when you blood demons meet humans in the future, you must not easily trust them. Qin Feiyang said. Does that include you? The Cyclops asked. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. There's no point in saying more. Time will reveal a person's heart. All right. The Cyclops nodded and yelled, I'd like to see what kind of human you are. All right. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then let's go. The Cyclops took a step forward and landed in the ancient city. Qin Feiyang smiled and followed behind the Cyclops. City Lord, why did you still allow him to enter the mysterious heaven ancient city? Several blood demons walked over and stared at Qin Feiyang unkindly. He's the benefactor of our blood demons. Of course, we treat him with respect. The Cyclops said. But, those blood demons frowned. Enough. This matter has been decided. You guys don't have to worry about it. The Cyclops said. Yes. The blood demons replied respectfully. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then, I hope that everyone will take care of me in the future. Humph. The blood demons snorted and turned to leave. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. I'll allow you to stay in the mysterious heaven ancient city, but you have to promise that you won't act recklessly. The Cyclops turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said. I promise. Qin Feiyang raised his hand and smiled. Forget it. The promises of you humans are too cheap. As long as you behave yourself, I'll let you stay in the ancient city. The Cyclops said. Qin Feiyang smiled awkwardly. After Wu Baichuan and the others created such a ruckus, it would be difficult to gain the trust of the blood demons. Damn it, damn it. At the same time, an old man in purple with wrinkles all over his face stood on the peak of a mountain and roared. This person was Wu Baichuan. However, he had turned into an extremely old man. Obviously, this was the price of activating a divine forbidden technique. He was very angry now. Not only did he not obtain the mysterious heaven ancient city, but he also paid such a heavy price. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura rolled over. What? Wu Baichuan's expression changed. He quickly looked up and saw a blood-eyed giant flying over aggressively. His divine consciousness covered all directions. Why did he chase after me? Wu Baichuan was stunned for a moment before he immediately fled into the mountains, frantically fleeing for his life. The blood-eyed giant was stunned and his divine consciousness locked onto Wu Baichuan. Why was it an old man? However, the aura he exuded was exactly the same as Wu Baichuan's. It must be him. The blood-eyed giant was shocked and roared, "I found Wu Baichuan. Come and join me." His voice was like a bell that resounded in all directions. Immediately, the other 19 blood-eyed giants rushed over from afar. Bastard! Wu Baichuan cursed angrily. The blood-red light on his body appeared again and his speed immediately skyrocketed. You can't run away. The 20 blood-eyed giants all used their supreme-grade auxiliary divine techniques and chased after him. Although they were not as fast as Wu Baichuan, it was difficult for Wu Baichuan to completely shake them off. At this moment, he was undoubtedly at the end of the road. An hour later, outside the mysterious heaven ancient city. A cyclops stood in the air above a plain and looked down at the plain below. There was a pit that was hundreds of meters deep on the plain. The pit was filled with corpses. The remaining 20,000 blood demons surrounded the pit, their eyes filled with sorrow. Qin Feiyang stood on the city wall and looked at this scene. He felt a little sad. I'm sorry. I'm the one who harmed you. But don't worry. I'll bury all the humans who entered the Nether King's hell with you. The Cyclops murmured and waved his hand. The soil churned and buried all the corpses. Roar! The surrounding blood demons also roared at the night sky as if they were paying tribute to the dead. Whoosh! At this moment, powerful auras rolled over from afar. The 20 blood-eyed giants at the peak of the 9th heaven realm had returned. Wu Baichuan was being held by a blood-eyed giant. He looked extremely old. His body was covered in blood. The 20 blood-eyed giants landed on the plain and bowed to the pit that had been buried. Then, they threw Wu Baichuan on the ground. I'm going to kill him. A blood-eyed giant immediately charged at Wu Baichuan and slapped Wu Baichuan. Ah! Wu Baichuan screamed miserably on the spot. His entire body sank into the ground like a meat patty. But he didn't die. After all, he was at the peak of the 9th heaven realm. Although he was seriously injured, the blood-eyed giant was only at the half-step 9th heaven realm. One slap wasn't enough to kill him. Wu Baichuan, how long has it been since we last met? How did you end up like this? A mocking voice sounded. Wu Baichuan was stunned. This voice, he raised his head and looked in the direction of the voice. He saw a young man in white slowly walking over. Qin Feiyang. Why was this person in the mysterious sky ancient city? And with the blood demons? What a waste! Qin Feiyang landed in front of Wu Baichuan and shook his head with a smile. Wu Baichuan looked at Qin Feiyang in shock and anger. He recalled the scene when the blood-eyed giant went invisible and stole the mysterious sky ancient city. Could it be that Qin Feiyang was helping the blood demons? That's right. It's me. Qin Feiyang nodded. Why? Why are you helping them? We're all from the Dragon Slayer Palace. Wu Baichuan roared angrily, but his voice was hoarse and weak. You also know that we're from the Dragon Slayer Palace. Then why did you and Diantian want to kill me in the treasure pavilion? Qin Feiyang sneered. Wu Baichuan's pupils shrank as he hurriedly said, that was just a joke. A joke? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? How can you joke like that? Qin Feiyang laughed. Wu Baichuan cried out, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Can't I apologize to you? Since we're both from the Dragon Slayer Palace, please save me. If I were so magnanimous, I wouldn't have informed the blood demons, nor would I have helped them take back the mysterious Sky Ancient City. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. What? You were the one who tipped them off. Wu Baichuan looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Yes. Let me tell you another secret. I'm He-san, who has been with you for half a month. Qin Feiyang smiled. You, Wu Baichuan stared at Qin Feiyang, dumbfounded. It turned out that Qin Feiyang had been lurking beside him for a long time. However, he didn't notice at all, thinking that he was just an insignificant person. Are you surprised? Surprised? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. You bastard, Lord Supreme Cloud won't let you go. Wu Baichuan roared hysterically. So, you're Supreme Cloud's man. Qin Feiyang smiled and said faintly, but don't worry, if nothing goes wrong, Supreme Cloud will probably die in the Nether King's hell. Huh, you're really shameless. If we were outside, you would definitely have the ability to do so. After all, even the ancestral dragons are no match for you. But don't forget, this is the Nether King's hell. With Lord Supreme Cloud's strength, killing you is as easy as slaughtering a dog. Wu Baichuan laughed maniacally. What? The ancestral dragons are really no match for him? The Cyclops' pupils contracted, and he couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at Wu Baichuan and said with a faint smile, then let's wait and see. But it seems like you won't have the chance to see it. Then, he retreated to the Cyclops' side. Chop him up, use his flesh and blood as a sacrifice to the souls of our people. The Cyclops shouted. Chapter 2598. No. I can help you. I'm stronger than Qin Feiyang. I'm more valuable than him. Wu Baichuan roared. But it was useless. A blood-eyed giant at the peak of the ninth heaven realm walked up and grabbed Wu Baichuan. Ah! With a painful scream, Wu Baichuan was crushed into meat paste. All the flesh and blood were scattered on the soil of the deep pit. Rest in peace. The Cyclops murmured. He turned to Qin Feiyang and said, Follow me. With that, he entered the ancient city. Qin Feiyang glanced at Wu Baichuan's flesh and blood and followed the Cyclops without any sympathy. What's going on? My lord, let him enter the ancient city. The 20 blood-eyed giants looked at each other. Qin Feiyang followed behind the one-eyed giant and landed in front of the central palace, entering the main hall. Please sit. The Cyclops sat down and pointed to a stone chair next to him. Qin Feiyang glanced at the stone chair. It was many times bigger than him. He smiled and said, I'll just stand. Up to you. The Cyclops said indifferently and asked, Is what Wu Baichuan said true? What? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The Cyclops giant said, He said that none of the ancestral dragons of the dragon race are a match for you. So that's what it is. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. He smiled and said, Didn't I tell you at the beginning? You didn't believe me. What are you capable of? I've fought with the dragons before. I know how strong they are. You, a great success paragon god, can defeat them. The Cyclops couldn't believe it. It's hard for you to believe, but it's the truth. It's just that I can't use many methods because of the rules of hell. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. The Cyclops said, Then it seems that you do indeed have something extraordinary about you, which also proves that you and the dragons aren't in cahoots. I only have a deep grudge against dragons. Entering the Infernal King's hell this time, although it was a trap set by them, it was actually just what I wanted. Qin Feiyang said. So you're saying that you plan to settle things once and for all in the underworld? The Cyclops giant said. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Cyclops shook his head and said, Don't say that I'm discouraging you. With your current strength, It's impossible. I know. Because many things have exceeded my expectations. First of all, we outsiders can only stay in hell for 1,000 years. 1,000 years is not enough for me to break through to the 9 heavens realm. Qin Feiyang sighed. His original plan was to break through to the 9 heavens realm in the infernal king's hell and then deal with the dragons. But how could 1,000 years be enough? Moreover, it had been more than 100 years and half a month. In other words, in less than 900 years, he would have to leave the infernal king's hell. Not to mention 1,000 years, even if I give you 100,000 years, you won't be able to break through to the 9 heavens realm. Let's talk about it later. Even if you can step into the 9 heavens realm within 1,000 years, you won't be a match for the ancestral dragons. The Cyclops giant said. Qin Feiyang said, if I can really step into the 9 heavens realm, I might be able to give it a try. So confident? The Cyclops giant was stunned. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, what I said is, maybe. The Cyclops giant looked at Qin Feiyang, lowered his head, as if thinking about something. I have a question. Qin Feiyang suddenly said. Go ahead. The Cyclops giant didn't raise his head, thinking about his own matters. Although you can't communicate through the image crystal in the infernal king's hell, your blood demon race has lived in the infernal king's hell for so many years, there should be a way to contact your people, right? Qin Feiyang asked. There really isn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't need your help to inform my people during the day. The Cyclops giant shook his head. Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously, then how do you usually contact your people? In the most primitive way. For example, to contact the city lords of the ancient cities, we will send messengers to them. The Cyclops giant said. It is indeed very primitive. Qin Feiyang nodded. This was not convenient at all. If there was an emergency, they would have to run back and forth thousands of miles away. Just like this time. If the Cyclops giant could directly contact his people, then the blood demon race that went out could immediately rush back to support. The rules are like this, we can't change it. You outsiders may not be used to it, but we blood demons have long been used to it. The Cyclops giant said. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. It didn't matter if they were used to it. The Cyclops giant's eyes suddenly flashed, he looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, I can help you. Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. Help him with what? The Cyclops giant said, I don't know if you have heard of something called a time formation. Time formation? Qin Feiyang was stunned and nodded, of course I have heard of it, I have a divine artifact that has a time formation. No wonder you are so confident. So it has a time formation. The Cyclops giant said in realization. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed, unfortunately, I can't enter this divine artifact now. The Cyclops giant asked, in that case, this is a heaven-defying divine artifact? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. That's a pity. However, my mysterious heaven ancient city also has a time formation. The Cyclops giant said. What? Qin Feiyang's expression froze. The mysterious heaven ancient city has a time formation? Why didn't he notice it? The time formation is on top of it. The Cyclops giant pointed at the top of the palace. Qin Feiyang looked up in surprise and asked, is there more than one level of the palace? Yes. There is another level above, the time formation is inside. However, for our blood demon race, the time formation is not that tempting. The Cyclops giant shook his head. Why? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. One had to know. No matter where it was, a time array would make people drool with desire. But the blood demon race did not care. Because our cultivation will forever stop at the peak 9 heavens realm, so the time formation is not that important to us. The Cyclops giant said. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. If one could not step into the imperishable realm, what was the use of a powerful time formation? In his heart, he could not help but sympathize with the blood demon race. He had experienced the torment of not being able to break through. Because back then, Zhao Tailai, Tang Hai, and the others were also like this in the Black Tortoise world, their cultivation forever stopping at the false god realm. Wait! The Black Tortoise world was like this, and so was the Nether King Hell. Could it be that the Nether King Hell was also an independent small world like the Black Tortoise world? Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang hurriedly turned and walked to the door, looking at the world outside, his eyes full of surprise. What's wrong? The Cyclops giant looked at him suspiciously. Nothing. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, turned back to his original position, and looked at the Cyclops giant. Your blood demon race has never thought of breaking this unbreakable curse. We have. We have also tried. But we can't break the rules and restrictions of the Nether King Hell. The Cyclops giant shook his head. Qin Feiyang said, then what about leaving the Nether King Hell? The Cyclops giant said, our blood demon race has no way to leave the Nether King Hell. Qin Feiyang was surprised. This was exactly the same as the Black Tortoise world. Back then, the creatures of the Black Tortoise world were also unable to leave the Black Tortoise world because of the restrictions of the Devil Mark. This is fate, there is no need to force it. The Cyclops giant shook his head. Fate, Qin Feiyang murmured and shook his head. To be honest, I have never believed in fate, because fate is in my own hands. You have never experienced this kind of despair, so you think you can do anything. When you really experience it, you will know that fate is irresistible. The Cyclops giant said. Perhaps. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and asked, do all blood demons have some kind of mark on their bodies? The Cyclops giant was slightly stunned and asked in surprise, how do you know? There really is. Qin Feiyang was surprised and asked, can you show me this mark first? The Cyclops giant looked deeply at Qin Feiyang and raised his giant foot. There was a leather boot on his foot. The Cyclops giant took off the leather boot, the sole of his foot facing Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang immediately covered his nose, speechless. How long have you washed your feet? Don't mind these details. The Cyclops giant smiled embarrassedly. Qin Feiyang shook his head and looked at the Cyclops giant's foot. He immediately saw the mark of the evil sun. And this foot also has it. The Cyclops giant raised his other foot and took off the leather boot. There was an evil moon mark on the sole of his foot. How can there be two marks? Qin Feiyang was surprised. This is the reason why our blood demon tribe can summon the power of the evil moon and the evil sun. The Cyclops giant said. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization and asked, then what about the other living beings in hell? For example, the beasts. Their marks are different from ours. Their mark is a blood-red skull on the top of their head. The Cyclops giant said. Skull. Qin Feiyang frowned. If he remembered correctly, the demon mark of the Black Tortoise world was also a skull. Was this a coincidence? The Cyclops giant put on the leather boot and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. How did this human know about the mark? One must know. Even the dragons didn't know about these marks. A moment later. Qin Feiyang looked up at the Cyclops giant and said, can you find a beast and let me see the demon mark of this skull? Do you know something? The Cyclops giant was suspicious. Let's talk about it later. Qin Feiyang said. All right. The Cyclops giant nodded and shouted, Old Ten, go and catch a beast, any beast will do. Yes. A loud voice immediately sounded from outside. Qin Feiyang asked, City Lord, does your blood demon tribe not have a surname? Yes. The Cyclops giant nodded. What surname? Qin Feiyang was curious. The surname of our entire blood demon tribe is the same, just the word at the front, blood. The Cyclops giant said. Blood? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback and frowned. There doesn't seem to be such a surname in this world, right? The Cyclops giant was stunned. You don't have it in the outside world? No. At least I haven't heard of it. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The Cyclops giant nodded and said with a smile, our surname is said to have been given by the ancestors of our blood demon tribe a long time ago. The word blood represents our blood demon tribe. I see. Qin Feiyang suddenly realized. Seeing the Cyclops giant smile, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel a trace of joy in his heart. Because this meant that the Cyclops giant was already trying to get along with him. Chapter 2599. Dong. Not long after. Deafening footsteps could be heard from outside. City Lord, I have caught the beast. Following that, a loud and clear voice rang out. Come in. The one-eyed giant said. A peak ninth heaven realm blood-eyed giant immediately grabbed a beast that was several meters long and entered the main hall. It was a blood-red leopard with a cultivation base at the peak ninth heaven realm. At this moment, looking at the one-eyed giant, its eyes were filled with fear. The one-eyed giant looked at Qin Feiyang and said, see for yourself. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and turned to walk towards the blood leopard. Human. The blood leopard was slightly stunned. Why would there be a human in this mysterious sky ancient city? The blood-eyed giant was also a little stunned. It turned out that it was this human's idea to capture the beast. Qin Feiyang walked in front of the blood leopard, looked up at the blood-eyed giant, and said with a smile, how should I address you? The blood-eyed giant was stunned and looked up at the one-eyed giant. Answer him. The one-eyed giant said. The blood-eyed giant pursed his lips and looked down at Qin Feiyang, saying, everyone calls me Old 10, you can call me Blood Old 10. Blood Old 10, Qin Feiyang murmured with a smile, thank you for your hard work. Blood Old 10 said indifferently, it's just catching a beast, what's so hard about it? It seemed that he didn't like Qin Feiyang very much. Qin Feiyang didn't care and looked at the blood leopard, stretch your head over here. What do you mean? The blood leopard was stunned. Do it. Blood Old 10 shouted. Okay. The blood leopard nodded and quickly lay on the ground, stretching its head in front of Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang pulled open the hair on the blood leopard's head and immediately saw a skull imprint. This imprint was very similar to the devil imprint in the black tortoise realm. The only difference was the devil imprint was black. This skull imprint was blood red and was the size of a baby's fist, looking quite ferocious. This is definitely not a coincidence. Qin Feiyang looked at the imprint and muttered to himself. Blood Elder 10 looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Why was this human staring at a mark? After a long time, Qin Feiyang withdrew his arm and looked at Blood Leopard with a smile. Let's go back. The Blood Leopard felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He turned around and ran out of the hall. What's going on? Blood 10th scratched his head. He went all the way to catch a ferocious beast, only to let it go without doing anything. The Cyclops waved his hand and said, Shui Laoshi, go guard outside. Yes. Shui Laoshi nodded and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. He walked out of the hall and stood guard outside. The Cyclops looked at Qin Feiyang and asked hesitantly, what did you discover? I won't hide it from you. I've been to a place that is very similar to hell. The creatures there also have a mark on their bodies. Furthermore, their situation is very similar to yours. I can't become a god, and I can't leave that place. Qin Feiyang said. What? The Cyclops suddenly stood up, his eyes filled with disbelief. Outside the door, Blood Tenth also turned his head and looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. There was actually a place in the world that was similar to hell. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, I have a bold guess. What guess? The Cyclops stared at Qin Feiyang. This, Qin Feiyang frowned and shook his head. It's better not to say. Aren't you deliberately trying to bait us? Before the Cyclops could speak, Blood Tenth outside the door roared. The Cyclops shouted, Tenth, shut up. Sir. This human, he definitely doesn't have good intentions. Hurry up and kill him. Blood Tenth said. I told you to shut up. Didn't you hear me? The Cyclops raised his eyebrows. Blood Tenth's pupils shrank and he closed his mouth bitterly. The Cyclops looked at Qin Feiyang and said, We blood demons hate people who beat around the bush. If you have something to say, just say it. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, The place I once came to is called the Black Tortoise World. Black Tortoise World? The Cyclops was suspicious. That's right. The Black Tortoise World is an independent small world. Of course, it's already very big now. Not only that, but the creatures in the Black Tortoise World have also broken the curse. Whether it's a human or a beast, they can all cultivate to become a god. Qin Feiyang said. The Cyclops was surprised. How did they break the curse? Blood Tenth had been listening attentively. Because of me. Qin Feiyang said. You. The Cyclops' eyes widened. How was that possible? A god could break the curse. Qin Feiyang smiled. At that time, I wasn't a god yet. I was only a war emperor. That's even more impossible. The Cyclops said. Logically speaking, with my cultivation, I shouldn't be able to break the curse. But there are some things that we can't understand logically. After some hardships, I became the master of the Black Tortoise World. After I became the master of the Black Tortoise World, I had the ability to remove the mark on them and let them regain their freedom. Qin Feiyang smiled. I see. The Cyclops nodded. Blood Tenth couldn't help but turn to Qin Feiyang and ask, So, you're the master of a world? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Keep bragging. Blood Tenth couldn't help but laugh. Can't there be more trust between people? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Anyone can brag. If what you said is true, then take us to the Black Tortoise World to take a look. Blood Tenth snorted. If I can enter the Black Tortoise World, do you think I would need your help to kill Wu Baichuan? Qin Feiyang was helpless. Then what else is there to say? We can't see it anyway. You have the final say. Blood Tenth said. Fine, fine, fine. Consider me bragging. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Cyclops had been observing Qin Feiyang, and he felt that he wasn't bragging. Could it be true? If it was true, would this person have a way to help the blood demons break the curse? Thinking of this, the Cyclops couldn't help but get excited. He asked, Can't we enter the Black Tortoise World because of the rules of Hades? That's right. Qin Feiyang nodded. But that's not right. According to what you said, the Black Tortoise World is an independent world. Then it should have its own rules. Since it has its own rules, then it shouldn't be restricted in Hades. After all, the Black Tortoise World and Hades are independent worlds. They are equal. The Cyclops frowned. The creatures in the Black Tortoise World won't be restricted by the rules of Hades. But I'm different. I'm outside now, so I can't avoid being restricted by the rules of Hades. Qin Feiyang said. That makes sense. The Cyclops nodded and then pondered for a while. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I don't know if what you said is true, but I choose to believe you. Thank you. Qin Feiyang smiled. Since you control a world, then you should have a way to help us break the curse, right? The Cyclops looked at Qin Feiyang nervously. There's no way. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Why? The Cyclops frowned. To break this curse, only the ruler of Hades can do it. If I'm not wrong, the ruler of Hades should be the dragon god of dragons. Qin Feiyang said. Dragon god? The Cyclops was stunned. Yes. The dragons have a dragon god. He's very mysterious, even I haven't seen him before. But since he can become the dragon god, his strength is definitely not simple. And your blood demon tribe, there are only two ways to remove the seal. Either convince him or defeat him. But to convince him to help you remove the seal, I think it's impossible. After all, if he was willing to do so, he would have already removed the seal. As for defeating him and taking over Hades, your blood demon tribe definitely can't do it. And I don't have this ability. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Dragon god, the Cyclops frowned. Wait. Human, do you mean that our blood demon tribe is like livestock, kept in captivity in Hades by the dragon god of dragons? Blood 10 asked in surprise. Hearing this, the Cyclops immediately looked at Qin Feiyang. It seemed that this was the main point. Qin Feiyang said, although it's a bit cruel, this is the truth. This is not true, Blood 10 shook his head. The Cyclops also had a look of disbelief. It turned out that their blood demon tribe was just a group of livestock kept in captivity all this time. Did I say too much? Looking at the reaction of the two, Qin Feiyang muttered to himself. This should be a big blow to the blood demon tribe. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed and said with a smile, of course, this is just my guess, it may not be true. Yes, yes, yes. Chapter 2600. After Blood Brother 10 left, the Cyclops retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, Tell me the truth, is there really no way to remove our curse? There's really no way. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The Cyclops frowned, so, the only way is to find the dragons, the dragon god? That's right. It's the dragon god who left Hades' hell to the dragons. That means he's the master of Hades' hell. Qin Feiyang said. But, we can't even leave Hades' hell, how can we find this dragon god? The Cyclops looked very annoyed. It wasn't easy to find the hope of removing the mark, but to really do it was harder than ascending to the sky. Qin Feiyang was silent. If it could be solved, with the blood demon's character, he would definitely help. But this matter was really hard to deal with. Let's talk about this later. The Cyclops shook his head and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, Now let's get back to the topic, I can let you go to the upper floor to cultivate in seclusion. Really? Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. And the Cyclops nodded. Are there any conditions? Qin Feiyang quickly asked. No. The Cyclops shook his head. No. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned, looked at the Cyclops, and said, I'm not afraid to offend you, but I don't believe in free meals. The Cyclops smiled faintly, and with a wave of his hand, Qin Feiyang's vision suddenly blurred. The next moment, he found himself in a huge stone room. This is the second floor of the palace. The Cyclops said. Qin Feiyang looked around. This stone room was half a mile long, and there was nothing in it. It seemed extremely empty. The time formation here is relatively poor, only 200 years in a day, don't mind it. The Cyclops smiled. What the hell? 200 years in a day. Qin Feiyang looked at the Cyclops in shock. The Cyclops asked, You don't like it? No, no, no. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand and said, Are you sure it's 200 years in one day? Yes. The Cyclops nodded and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. 200 years in one day. Still not good enough. You even told him not to mind. Qin Feiyang was confused. 200 years in a day. Such a heaven-defying time array was considered weak in the eyes of the Cyclops. How could his time formation, which took 100 years, endure this? Are you okay? The Cyclops asked. It's nothing. Qin Feiyang came to his senses and waved his hand. Fine. He had finally learned something new. If a relatively poor time array could last 200 years in a day, then how astonishing would a relatively good time array be? It was true that there was always someone better than you. You thought that the thing in your hand was rare in the world, but in the eyes of others, it was even worse than trash. The Cyclops said, if there's nothing else, then you can cultivate here. Thank you. Qin Feiyang bowed. The Cyclops smiled faintly and instantly disappeared without a trace. 200 years in a day, this Nether King's hell is worth it. Qin Feiyang looked around and was overjoyed. If the white-eyed wolf knew about this, he would definitely be envious and jealous. And this was the opportunity that he had been looking forward to. With such a powerful time array, why would he worry about stepping into the half-step ninth heaven realm? Hurry up and cultivate, don't waste time. Every minute and second was priceless. Immediately. He sat cross-legged on the ground, took out a large number of soul stones, and began to refine them in seclusion. According to his original calculation, it would take more than 730 days to break through to the perfect supreme god realm, even in the castle and the black tortoise realm. About 2 years. And now. 200 years in a day was equivalent to having the time. In other words, he now only needed a year to break through to the perfect supreme god realm. On one hand, he could gradually establish a friendly relationship with the blood demon tribe. On the other hand, he could cultivate in such a time array. It was the best of both worlds. At the same time. Below the main hall. The Cyclops sat on a chair and looked at the void in front of him. In the void, there was an image. What was displayed on the screen was the stone room where Qin Feiyang was. The Cyclops looked at Qin Feiyang, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, and a thoughtful light flashed in his eyes. My lord. Suddenly. Accompanied by a series of footsteps, a perfect supreme god realm blood-eyed giant entered the main hall. What's the matter? The Cyclops asked. The blood-eyed giant was about to speak, but when he saw Qin Feiyang in the image, he frowned and said, My lord, why did you let him enter there to cultivate? I'm just testing him. The Cyclops said. Testing? The blood-eyed giant was stunned. Yes. I wanted to see if he would be greedy when he saw this time array. The Cyclops said. What was the result? The Cyclops asked. Am I not just observing? But so far, I don't see any greed in his eyes. Perhaps, he is really different from other humans. The Cyclops said. The Cyclops frowned and said, what if he is faking it? As he said, time will reveal a person's heart. Let's just observe slowly. The Cyclops smiled faintly and asked, why are you looking for me? The Cyclops said, I heard that you let old Ten go to the ancient city of King Yu. Yes. The Cyclops nodded. Aren't you asking for trouble? What if the King Yu blames us? The Cyclops said angrily. If it is a blessing, it is not a curse. If it is a curse, we cannot avoid it. If the King Yu blames us, I will accept the punishment. The Cyclops said. Sigh. The Cyclops sighed and asked, then, do we continue to hunt humans? Of course. But to prevent this from happening again, you will stay in the ancient city of mysterious heaven and let the other clansmen hunt them down. The Cyclops said. Okay. I will make the arrangements now. The Cyclops nodded and turned to take a few steps. He turned back to look at the Cyclops and said, My lord, old Ten is not far away. If you regret it now, I can still get him back. You are making a mountain out of a molehill. Don't you know the King Yu's character? As long as there is a reason, he will at most reprimand you. He will not really punish you. The Cyclops was helpless. I hope so. The Cyclops nodded and turned to leave. The Cyclops raised his head and continued to observe Qin Feiyang. Giant Dragon Mountain Range. In the canyon. What is going on? It has been 100 years. Why are Old Fire and Her Highness not here yet? An angry shout suddenly sounded. Everyone opened their eyes and looked at the blood-robed youth. They are indeed too slow. Could there be an accident? The white-robed woman was bewildered. Everyone could not help but frown. If they were outside, they would definitely not have such worries. However, they were in the Nether King Hell now. Even ancestral dragons like them might not be able to protect themselves when encountering the powerful blood demons. We can't keep waiting like this. Why don't we make a move first? Ancestral Dragon suggested. Yi Zhong pondered for a moment and said, I don't mind as long as everyone agrees. Then let's make a move. The white-robed woman nodded. The others thought for a moment and nodded as well. Okay. After daybreak, we will go to the Nether King ancient city and make a plan. No matter what, we have to snatch that heaven-defying artifact. Ancestral Dragon said. Heaven-defying artifact, Madman, who was sitting at the side, had a gleam in his eyes. He must not let the dragons obtain that heaven-defying artifact. Otherwise, when they left the Nether King Hell, the dragons would have a chance to make a comeback. After all, the power that a heaven-defying artifact brought was unimaginable. However, how could they stop the dragons from snatching this artifact? If Qin Feiyang was here, what would he do? Yi Zhong, the chief pavilion master, the various ancestral dragons, and that unfamiliar young man were all discussing the plan. They didn't notice Madman's abnormality at all. It's decided then. Yi Zhong, chief pavilion master, and you, ancestral dragon, looked at Yi Zhong, the chief pavilion master, and that unfamiliar young man and said, all of you will lure away the experts from the Nether King ancient city. We will take the opportunity to enter the ancient city and snatch the artifact. Okay. Yi Zhong nodded. However, the chief pavilion master couldn't help but frown. She was going to be the bait to lure away the experts from the Nether King ancient city while these ancestral dragons went to snatch the heaven-defying artifact. Even if they managed to snatch it, she wouldn't have a share. She had to take the risk without any benefits. She wasn't willing to do such a loss-making deal. Do you have any objections? Chapter 2601. Don't worry. With your talent, it's only a matter of time before you enter the imperishable realm. Ancestral Dragon smiled. Imperishable realm? Frenzy shook his head and smiled bitterly. I haven't even reached the 9 heavens realm, how would I dare to think about the imperishable realm? You have to believe in yourself. Ancestral Dragon smiled. In the past, he used Frenzy to enter Fallen Valley. But now, he truly treated Frenzy as his disciple. Of course. This was also because of Frenzy's value. Just like what Yi Zhong said, Frenzy's existence was enough to change the fate of the dragons. Although this process would take a long time, the dragons could wait. If Frenzy didn't have such value, then in the eyes of Ancestral Dragon, he would be the same as other humans, a cannon fodder that could be used. Alright. I believe that I can do it. Frenzy said heroically. Ancestral Dragon shook his head and smiled. He looked up at the night sky and said, I believe you heard it just now. After dawn, we will go to King Yu City to snatch the heaven-defying artifact. Frenzy nodded. Don't go. Ancestral Dragon said. Why? Frenzy frowned. If he wanted to stop the dragons from snatching the artifact, he had to follow them to find an opportunity. The blood demons in King Yu City are all extremely terrifying. There are at least tens of thousands of them at the Perfection 9 Heavens realm. To be honest. If you follow us, you will only cause trouble for us. So, it's better for you to stay here and cultivate. Ancestral Dragon said. Tens of thousands. Frenzy was shocked. Yes. And these tens of thousands are just ordinary blood demons. The most powerful ones are the 10 commanders. Each of them has heaven-defying strength. One-on-one, even I don't have the confidence to defeat them. Especially King Yu, who leads the blood demons. I'm afraid that even if we join forces, we might not be able to defeat him. Ancestral Dragon said. It can't be. Frenzy was shocked. Of course. If we can unleash our peak strength, killing him won't be a problem. Ancestral Dragon said confidently. That's for sure. After all of you are supreme experts. Frenzy said. Unfortunately, this is the Underworld King's hell. There are rules and restrictions. Even our dragon clan is unable to break this rule. Ancestral Dragon shook his head. Madman pondered for a moment and said, all right, I'll stay here and cultivate. I won't cause trouble for you. Yes. Ancestral Dragon nodded. After chatting for a while, Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon sat cross-legged on the ground and prepared for battle. Madman also closed his eyes. However, in his heart, he had been pondering. What can I do to destroy the dragon's plan? Suddenly, an idea flashed through his mind. The simplest method was to inform the blood demon race of the news. As long as the blood demon race knew about this in advance, no matter how thorough Yi Zhong's plan was, it would not succeed. Furthermore, the blood demon race could still beat the dragons at their own game. They wouldn't be able to kill a single assassin, so they might be able to get rid of these people in one fell swoop. But if he wanted to send a message, he had to leave first. But how could he leave without arousing the suspicions of Yi Zhong and the others? The people here were all cunning old foxes. The slightest carelessness would arouse their suspicions. He had to do it flawlessly. Suddenly, Madman opened his eyes and looked up at the evil moon in the sky. A glint flashed across his eyes. Immediately after, Madman stood up and without saying anything, he soared into the sky. What are you doing? Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon heard the commotion and opened his eyes to ask Madman. Yi Zhong and the others also looked at him suspiciously. Ha! Madman grinned and rushed into the sky without looking back. Could it be? Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon suddenly thought of something and suddenly stood up and shouted at Madman, come back. Old Black, what is he doing? The blood-red clothed youth and the others also quickly stood up and asked Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon said in a deep voice, he probably wants to get close to the evil moon. What? Is he courting death? Even the evil power that permeates the void can bring us a great threat, not to mention the evil moon. Why aren't you stopping him? The white-clothed woman shouted. In their opinion, this was no different from courting death. So, Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon rushed into the sky and in a few blinks of an eye, he stood in front of Madman and said angrily, do you want to die? Don't you know that I can absorb the evil power? What are you afraid of? Madman whispered. I know you can absorb it, but you have to know that it's the evil moon. The evil power contained in the evil moon is not something you can imagine. You can't be reckless just because you can absorb the evil power. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon said. Don't worry. I will act according to my ability. Perhaps if I get closer to the evil moon, my cultivation speed will be faster. Madman said indifferently. No. This is too risky. If you can't absorb that much, won't your life be in danger? Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon shook his head. I know my limits. If I can't absorb that much, I will retreat. We'll talk about it later. I'm doing this for your sake. Madman said. For our sake. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon was stunned. That's right. Think about it, if I can absorb the entire evil moon and make it disappear, then the blood demons won't be able to transform at night. Then wouldn't it be easier to deal with them? Madman said. That's true. If the blood demons can't transform, then we won't have to worry too much about dealing with them. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon nodded. And in the future, you won't have to worry about being eroded by the evil power. Killing two birds with one stone, how perfect. Madman chuckled. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon rolled his eyes and said, the idea is good, but is it possible to absorb the entire evil moon? How would I know if I don't try? Just let me try. It's best if it works, but if it doesn't, I'll retreat. We have nothing to lose anyway. Madman said. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon pondered for a moment and nodded. All right, but you must act according to your ability. Understood. Madman grinned and turned into a stream of light as he continued to fly toward the evil moon. Why is he still going? The white-clothed woman and the others rushed to Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon's side and asked in surprise. Let him try. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon sighed. Maybe he can really do it. Yi Zhong said. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon nodded. Both of their eyes were filled with anticipation. The white-clothed woman and the others were puzzled. What exactly were these two old fellows up to? There's also a dense evil power. As he got closer, the evil power became more and more terrifying. However, Madman's body was like a bottomless pit, he absorbed as much as he killed. Why can I absorb this evil power? Madman had a question in his mind. A moment later, he finally rushed into the clouds and approached the evil moon. His entire body was drowned by the evil power. But even so, he didn't feel any sense of danger. On the contrary, the feeling of familiarity with the evil power was even stronger. It felt as if the evil power was originally a part of his body. It was too strange. Even Madman himself felt that it was inconceivable. Why is he completely fine? There's clearly a large amount of evil power entering his body. What's going on? Looking at Madman standing next to the evil moon, the white-clothed woman and the others were dumbfounded. Black Dragon Ancestral Dragon and Yi Zhong were also shocked. Although they knew that Madman could absorb the evil power, they didn't expect him to be able to get close to the evil moon. Old Man Yi, are you hiding something from us? The white-clothed woman and the others turned to look at the two with a frown. Shoo! Black Dragon Ancestral Dragon made a shushing gesture and continued to pay attention to Madman. At the top of the clouds, looking up from the ground below, the evil moon was only a little bigger than the moon outside. But at this moment, Madman stood at the top of the clouds and looked at the evil moon at a close distance. It was as huge as a star. Blood light covered tens of thousands of miles of starry sky. Standing in front of the evil moon, Madman was as small as a speck of dust. Why do you give me such a sense of familiarity? What's your relationship with me? Madman murmured. Ever since he entered the blood channel, the evil power gave him an extremely strong sense of familiarity. There was even an illusion that a wanderer was returning home. It meant that a child who had left had returned to his homeland. Suppressing the throbbing in his heart, Madman took a step forward and disappeared into the blood light. What? What is he doing? He actually entered the evil moon. The white-clothed woman and the others were dumbfounded. Black Dragon Ancestral Dragon and Yi Zhong were also worried at this moment. Because that blood light was formed by the evil power. Although they had never been close to the evil moon nor entered it, they could imagine that the evil power contained in the evil moon was definitely countless times more terrifying than the evil power in the blood channel. Could Madman really absorb such a terrifying evil power? Besides, Madman, at this moment, just like when Qin Feiyang entered the blood channel, he couldn't see anything in front of him. It was all blood red. The evil power crazily rushed into his body. However, he didn't feel any threat. No matter how much it came, he would take it all. Moreover, that sense of familiarity was getting stronger and stronger. It was as if he was standing in a greenhouse, warm and comfortable. Boom! Suddenly, Madman's aura couldn't help but emerge. This sudden change startled the madman, and he quickly immersed his mind into his body. At this moment, his face changed slightly. He found that the divine power in his sea of chi was actually changing. It seemed that the divine power was transforming into evil power. What's going on? Madman was stunned. He himself was also puzzled. Yi Zhong and the others also felt Madman's aura, their eyes were full of surprise. What happened? Whoosh! Suddenly, Black Dragon Ancestral Gragon turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the evil moon. Old Black, what are you doing? Yi Zhong quickly changed and chased after him. He must be in trouble, I have to save him. Black Dragon Ancestral Gragon said in a deep voice. Are you crazy? It's not like we haven't tried, there's no way to get close. Yi Zhong shouted. I don't care so much. Black Dragon Ancestral Gragon's face sank. This bastard brat, I told him not to go but he insisted on going. Now that he encountered trouble, he didn't even know how he died. Chapter 2602. Although Ancestral Dragon didn't listen to his advice and insisted on going, he had no choice but to stop before he reached the clouds. Because the evil force here had exceeded the range he could bear. If he continued to approach, he was afraid that even he would be completely corroded by the evil force. What should I do? Ancestral Dragon was burning with anxiety. Don't worry. As long as his aura is still there, it proves that he's not dead. Yi Zhong comforted. Inside the evil moon, Madman had been paying attention to the changes in divine power. Time passed bit by bit. About half an hour later, the divine power in his sea of chi had actually all transformed into evil force. When the divine power transformed into evil force, the evil moon was no threat to him. What's going on? Madman frowned. Boom! Suddenly, the aura all over his body began to soar. Madman was stunned. This was a breakthrough. He quickly confirmed and was pleasantly surprised to find that it was really a breakthrough. Although he was about to break through to perfection before entering the Nether King's hell, it would have taken at least a few thousand years outside. And now, with the transformation of divine power, he actually skipped these few thousand years and directly broke through. This was really an unexpected surprise. Boom! Several breaths later, his cultivation had finally reached the level of a great god. High in the sky below, Yi Zhong and the others all stared at Evil Moon in shock and bewilderment. Because they all sensed the aura of Madman's breakthrough. He actually broke through a realm. What was going on? Old Black, Yi Zhong, shouldn't you tell us the truth now? The blood-red youth looked at Yi Zhong and Madman, frowning. The two looked at each other. Ancestral Dragon shook his head and said, "This is the surprise I want to give you." What do you mean? The group was even more puzzled. Ancestral Dragon said, Madman can absorb the evil force. So that's how it is. The group suddenly understood. Wait. What did you say? Say it again. What a hindsight. However, Ancestral Gragon and Yi Zhong were not surprised by their reactions. Because this was indeed an extremely inconceivable matter. I said that the madman can absorb the evil energy and turn it into his own to increase his cultivation. The Ancestral Dragon spoke again. How is this possible? With a tacit understanding, the group of people called out in unison. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Absorbing evil energy? To improve his cultivation. You must be joking. This exalted knows that you all find this very hard to believe. However, the scene before your eyes is the truth. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon said. Yeah. Not only was he fine after entering the evil moon, he even used the power of the evil moon to make a breakthrough. What a freak. Yi Zhong also shook his head. The group of people looked at the evil moon again, and the shock in their hearts could not be calmed down for a long time. Was he a freak? Needless to say, he could only be described as a freak. Madman didn't know about the shock of the people outside, nor was he in the mood to pay attention to it. After retracting his aura, he looked into the depths ahead. Because after the divine energy transformed into the evil energy, he inexplicably had a strange feeling in his heart. It was as if there was something in front of him that was guiding him. Master, I'm fine. I plan to cultivate in seclusion here. You all go prepare for battle. Madman roared and took a step forward, following that inexplicable guidance, he walked into the depths. This bastard kid. Outside. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. It was really frightening. Haha, now you can rest assured. Yi Zhong laughed. Ancestral Dragon Black Dragon nodded. Then let's go, adjust our state and prepare for battle. Yi Zhong said. At that moment, the two returned to the canyon, sat cross-legged on the ground, closed their eyes, and refined the evil energy in their bodies. The woman in white and the others looked at the evil moon, unable to recover for a long time. Inside the blood light. Madman didn't know how far he had walked, let alone where he was. In any case, he just followed the guidance and kept moving forward. About half an hour passed. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks and looked in front of him in surprise. In the void half a meter in front of him, there was actually a blood bead floating. The blood bead was about the size of a palm and was perfectly round, as if it was condensed from blood, emitting a shocking aura. And the evil energy came from this blood bead. What is this? Madman took another half a step forward, almost touching the blood bead. And he found that this blood bead gave him a particularly strong sense of familiarity. But, in his mind, there was no memory of the blood bead. Madman sized it up for a moment and tentatively raised his arm, reaching for the blood bead. Boom! However, just as he was about to touch the blood bead suddenly released a blood light, pushing him away. What do you mean? Madman stabilized his body and approached the blood bead again. Although the blood bead pushed him away, it didn't hurt him. After confirming that there was no danger, he raised his arm again and grabbed at the blood bead with lightning speed. This time, he touched the blood bead. But the blood bead pushed him away again. And at the same time, Madman hugged his head and howled miserably. Because when he touched the blood bead, a scene suddenly appeared in his mind. It was a dark world. A giant that was tens of thousands of feet tall and a giant dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long was crazily fighting, but this scene only lasted for a moment. After the blood bead pushed him away, the scene disappeared. He didn't even see the faces of the giant and the giant dragon clearly. But in his mind, there was a tearing pain, as if his divine soul was about to shatter. After a moment, the pain disappeared. Madman walked in front of the blood bead with lingering fear, looking at the blood bead in surprise. What was going on? Why did such a scene appear in his mind when he touched the blood bead? A giant that was tens of thousands of feet tall, a giant dragon that was tens of thousands of feet tall, did all of this have anything to do with him? What happened after that? He raised his arm again and grabbed at the blood bead, faster than before. However, this time, the blood bead didn't give him any chance. No matter what he did, or how fast he was, he couldn't touch the blood bead again. The origin of this blood bead is definitely not simple. Perhaps that giant or the giant dragon is the owner of this blood bead, Wait. The blood bead is the evil moon. That means that the battle between the giant and the giant dragon must have happened in the Nether King Hell. Giant, Madman murmured and couldn't help but frown. Although the previous scene was only for a moment and he didn't see the giant's face clearly, he faintly noticed that the giant had blood-red hair. Could it be, this giant is from the blood demon race? And the giant dragon, the Nether King Hell, was left behind by the dragon god for the dragons. Could it be that this giant dragon is the dragon god of the dragons? Blood demon race? Dragons? Madman kept thinking and finally came to the most likely conclusion. The scene he saw before might be the battle between the dragons and the blood demon race. Interesting, Madman suddenly smiled. He had a premonition that this Nether King Hell wasn't as simple as everyone saw. Look at my brain, I almost forgot about business. Suddenly, Madman patted his head and restrained his aura to the extreme. He used his extreme speed and flew forward without looking back. Not long after, he flew out of the blood light and looked down. His current position was far away from the canyon. Even if he left now, Yi Zhong and the others wouldn't know. Madman lowered his head and muttered to himself. He looked to the left and murmured, I remember, when Yi Zhong and Ancestral Gragon went to the ancient Nether King city, they went in this direction. Immediately, he disappeared into the night sky without saying a word. That's right. He didn't enter the evil moon to cultivate, but to use the cover of the evil moon to leave without anyone knowing. But he didn't expect that under such a coincidence, he would obtain such a great fortune and break through to the perfection Paragon God realm. If only Qin Feiyang was here. After taking the Yin Yang Chaos Pill, he might be able to reach the half-step 9th heaven realm. After reaching the half-step 9th heaven realm, his blood demon domain would be able to play a huge role. The blood demon domain could deprive 4 small realms of cultivation. Even the perfection 9th heaven realm wouldn't be able to escape. Just think about it. Originally the perfection 9th heaven realm, if one's cultivation dropped to the initial 9th heaven realm, it would be a fatal blow to anyone. As for Madman, even if his cultivation was at the half-step 9th heaven realm, he was still confident that he could instantly kill an initial 9th heaven realm. After a while, Madman left the giant Dragon Mountain range and looked at the endless land in front of him. He frowned and said, where is this ancient Nether King city? He felt a bit regretful. He should have found Yi Zhong and the others to find out the location of the ancient Nether King city before entering the evil moon. There were quite a few fierce beasts below. But these fierce beasts were all above the Paragon God realm. With his strength, he wouldn't be able to defeat them and make them speak. And if he fought here, Yi Zhong and the others in the canyon would definitely notice. Whoosh! Taking a deep breath, Madman finally decided to go straight ahead. Soon, he finally met a perfection Paragon God fierce beast. It was a blood eagle. Its body was dozens of feet long and it was like a small mountain as it laid on top of a mountain. Madman approached without anyone noticing and directly activated the blood demon domain. He took down the blood eagle and shouted, do you want to die? Of course not. The blood eagle shook his head. He was shocked by the power of the blood demon domain. All right then. Tell me, where is the ancient Nether King city? Madman said. Ancient Nether King city. The blood eagle was shocked and said in fear, why are you asking about the ancient Nether King city? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Just say it when I ask you to. Madman frowned. Okay. Keep walking forward. With your speed, you will reach the ancient Nether King city in 1 or 2 days. The blood eagle said. What the hell? 1 or 2 days? Madman was stunned. The blood eagle nodded. How is it too late? Madman frowned. By the time he reached the ancient Nether King city, Yi Zhong and the others would have already taken action. Shui Ying's parents carefully identified it for a moment and exclaimed. Sigh. Madman suddenly let out a long sigh. What are you sighing for? Shui Ying looked at him in confusion. Originally, I didn't want to expose my identity, but I didn't expect you to see through it. All right. I admit, I am from the blood demon race. Madman said. What? You are from the blood demon race? Shui Ying and his parents were shocked. Yes. Madman nodded. This is impossible. Even the newborn babies of the blood demon race aren't as small as you. Shui Ying's parents said. There's no other way. I was born this short. Why? Do you have any objections? Madman raised his brows. We don't dare. Shui Ying's parents hurriedly lowered their heads. Towards the blood demon race, all living beings in hell were extremely afraid. Since you already know my identity, then bring me to the ancient city. I have an urgent matter that needs to be reported to Lord King Yu as soon as possible. Madman said. Shui Ying sized up Madman and suddenly said, Father, Mother, he is lying. Child, you can't talk nonsense. Shui Ying's parents' expression changed as they hurriedly looked at Madman and said, Lord, we are sorry. We didn't discipline him well. A child's words carry no harm. It's fine. Madman waved his hand generously. Father, Mother, he is really lying. If he is really from the blood demon race, how can he not know the location of the ancient city? Shui Ying said. Yes. Shui Ying's parents' expression changed as they shouted, You human, you actually dare to pretend to be from the blood demon race. You are really daring. Madman felt bitter in his heart. He had already scared Shui Ying's parents, but he didn't expect to be exposed by this little eagle. If you are really from the blood demon race, then take off your shoes and let us see the mark on your feet. Shui Ying said. Mark? Madman was slightly stunned. What the hell was this? See? You don't even know the mark and you still dare to say that you are from the blood demon race? Shui Ying looked at Madman proudly, his eyes were filled with disdain. Seeing this, Madman wished he could slap him. How dare you lie to us, go to hell. Shui Ying's parents shouted. Don't do it. Madman hurriedly retreated and said in a deep voice, I really have something important to do and need to see the King Yu. If this matter is delayed because of you, the King Yu will be furious and all of you will have to die. Shui Ying's parents froze and looked at Madman in shock. Shui Ying said, Father, Mother, he must be lying to you again. Shut up. Madman glared at Shui Ying fiercely and looked at Shui Ying's parents, saying, I am not joking. This matter is related to the dragons. Dragons. Shui Ying's parents were shocked. After dawn, the dragons will rush to the ancient city of the King Yu. At that time, there will definitely be a bloody battle. I am going to the ancient city of the King Yu to inform the king of this news. Madman said. Wait a minute. Aren't you humans and dragons on the same side? Shui Ying's parents said. Dragons and humans have never been on the same side. In our world, dragons control everything in the world. In front of dragons, humans are even worse than ants. Madman said. So pitiful. Shui Ying's parents were surprised. In any case, we have to head to the ancient city of the King Yu immediately. You don't have to be afraid of me. Because with your strength, you can easily kill me. When the time comes. If you find out that I am lying to you, just kill me directly. Madman said. If you are really lying to us, we don't even need to do anything. The blood demon race will kill you. Shui Ying's parents snorted coldly. That's right. The most you can do is take me there. It's just a waste of time. You won't lose anything. Madman said. Shui Ying turned to look at his parents and said, looking at him this time, he doesn't seem to be lying. Why don't you bring him to the ancient city of the Qingyu? Shui Ying's parents pondered for a while and nodded. All right, we will believe you for now. Thank you. Madman cupped his hands and smiled. Shui Ying's father looked at Shui Ying's mother and said, I will bring him there. You stay at home and take care of the child. Okay. Shui Ying's mother nodded. Come on up. Shui Ying's father looked at Madman and said. Madman jumped up and landed on Shui Ying's father's back. Whoosh! Immediately, Shui Ying's father spread his wings and turned into a stream of light, disappearing into the horizon. Chapter 2604. A few hours later. On the horizon, a huge silhouette appeared in Lunatic's line of sight. It was the silhouette of an ancient city. Looking from afar, it was like a peerless beast standing on the ground. Lunatic was shocked. This was because he had never seen such a huge city before. That is the ancient city of Qingyu. Blood Eagle's father said as he looked at the ancient city of Qingyu from afar. His eyes were filled with respect. Lunatic nodded and asked curiously, are there many experts in the ancient city of Qingyu? Of course. Blood Eagle's father said. Have you entered it before? Lunatic asked. No. Blood Eagle's father shook his head. Lunatic was surprised. Even with your cultivation level, you can't enter. This has nothing to do with cultivation level. The ancient city of Qingyu is the capital of the blood demon race. Only the blood demon race is allowed to enter. A ferocious beast like me shouldn't even think about entering. No. Even if I am close to the city, I am not allowed. Blood Eagle's father said. Lunatic nodded and said, then put me down. I will go alone. No. Blood Eagle's father shook his head. What do you mean? Lunatic was suspicious. Wasn't he not allowed to get close? It is different this time. You are a human. I have to keep an eye on you and personally hand you over to the blood demon race. Lest you play any tricks. Blood Demon's father snorted coldly. Like what your child said, can't there be more trust between humans? Lunatic was helpless. He was only a perfected paragon god. What tricks could he play in the ancient city of Qingyu? Unless he was tired of living. But he felt that he had not lived long enough. Talking about trust with humans like you, isn't it courting death? Blood Eagle's father despised him. All right. Up to you. Lunatic shrugged his shoulders indifferently and looked up at the ancient city of Qingyu again. During their conversation, the distance between them had increased by a lot. At this moment, Lunatic could already see the ancient city of Qingyu clearly. The ancient city was dark and emitted an ancient aura. The city walls on all sides were towering into the clouds. It was unknown how big the ancient city of Qingyu was. Anyway, with Lunatic's current cultivation level, he was unable to see the entire ancient city. The buildings in the city towered into the sky. The entire city could only be described with 4 words, majestic and magnificent. Outside the city, there was a vast plain. On the plains, there were no trees or hills, and the view was very wide. In the center of the plain, there was a platform several meters high. On the platform, a giant was sitting cross-legged. This giant was over 20 meters tall, and his aura had reached the 9th heaven realm. His skin was bronze in color. Like a stone statue, he sat cross-legged on the stone platform, motionless. If one didn't know in advance, they would really think that he was a stone statue. Whoosh! Blood Eagle's father brought Madman straight into the plains. Who gave you the courage to approach the ancient Qingyu city? The blood-eyed giant opened its eyes and raised its head to look at the Blood Eagle. 2 beams of ferocious light shot out of its eyes. My lord, please don't misunderstand, Shui Ying's father hurriedly spoke. He then rushed to the bottom of the stone platform and prostrated himself on the ground, wanting to explain. There are still humans. When the blood-eyed giant saw the madman on the blood-eyed giant's back, he was instantly enraged and shouted, "How dare you help a human?" "No, it's not like that," Blood Eagle's father hurriedly said. Madman said helplessly, "Can you not be so hot-tempered? This matter has nothing to do with him. I am the one who asked him to bring me here. Die." The blood-eyed giant suddenly stood up. Without a second word, it raised its huge arm and smashed it toward Madman and Blood Eagle's father. "My lord, this is really a misunderstanding. This human said that he has something to report to the ancient King Yu City. Therefore, I brought him here." Blood Eagle's father roared. "N." The blood-eyed giant was stunned. Its arm also stopped in midair as it looked at Madman with suspicion. "That's right. It is an extremely important matter." Madman nodded. "What is it?" The blood-eyed giant frowned. Madman said, "It is related to the heaven-defying artifact of your ancient King Yu City." "You actually know about the heaven-defying artifact?" The blood-eyed giant's eyes flickered with ferocious light again. Hey, hey, hey. Let me tell you, don't test my patience. I am here to inform you guys out of goodwill. If you don't appreciate it, don't regret it in the future." Madman was unhappy. "Impudent." The blood-eyed giant roared. "Get lost. I am not in the mood to mess around with you. Bring me to see the ancient king immediately." Madman had an impatient look. "You are really courting death." The blood-eyed giant was furious. A mere human actually dared to be so arrogant. "If the heaven-defying artifact is snatched because of your delay, I am afraid you will be the one to die." Madman said calmly. "The ancient King Yu City is the capital of my blood demon race. Who dares to come and snatch the heaven-defying artifact? I think you just want to take the opportunity to sneak into the ancient King Yu City. You humans are indeed a bunch of cunning creatures." The blood-eyed giant sneered. Its arm that was suspended in midair suddenly smashed down. "Unreasonable. Retreat." Madman roared. Blood Eagle's father couldn't care so much and immediately escaped with Madman. Trying to escape. The blood-eyed giant took a step forward and chased after them. Very soon. They entered the mountains outside the plains one after another. "Look, look. This is all because of you. I am going to die because of you." Blood Eagle's father was burning with anxiety. How would I know that the blood demon race is so unreasonable? Madman rubbed his forehead and glanced at the blood-eyed giant behind him with a helpless expression. Was it so difficult to be a good person? Then what should we do now? Blood Eagle's father asked. Madman thought for a moment and sighed. Why don't you abandon me and escape? How would I dare to escape if you didn't explain clearly? The entire Nether King Hell is under the control of the blood demon race. If I escape now, I will be found by them sooner or later. By then, not only will I die, but my wife and children will also die. Blood Eagle's father was very depressed. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have bothered with this. Madman said, in that case, we have to clear up this misunderstanding. Of course. Now, you have to meet the ancient king and prove that you have information for him. This way, we will be fine. Blood Eagle's father said. That big guy behind didn't even listen to my explanation. How can I meet the ancient king? Madman frowned. This is your problem. You have to think of a solution. Otherwise, I will not let you off even if I become a ghost. Blood Eagle's father said. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry, I will be responsible for you. Madman smiled and lowered his head to ponder. Responsible? Who wants you to be responsible? Blood Eagle's father secretly snorted. He only wanted to clear up this misunderstanding as soon as possible and then leave the ancient King Hell City. While the one-eyed giant was chasing after Blood Eagle and Madman, a blood-eyed giant was also standing on a mountain peak in the distance. But this blood-eyed giant was a female. Her height was also over 10 meters. She was wearing a black armor and had an aggressive aura. But her cultivation was only at the initial 9 heavens realm. But this wasn't the main point. The main point was, on the shoulder of this female giant was a golden wolf cub. At this moment, this wolf cub stared in the direction of Madman and the others with a bewildered expression. It seems to be Madman. That's right. It's this guy. The wolf cub was shocked and said to the female giant, "Blockhead, quickly go over and take a look." The female giant was shocked and hurriedly said, "This isn't good. That clansman of mine is at the perfection 9 heavens realm. If he sees me with you, he will definitely not let me off easily. With this brother protecting you, what are you afraid of?" The wolf cub said proudly. "You." There was a trace of disdain in the female giant's eyes. "You don't want to listen when I talk to you nicely? Do you really want this brother to do it?" The wolf cub said angrily. "Go go go, immediately go." The female giant's body trembled and hurriedly brought the wolf cub and flew in the direction of Madman and the others. "Let's see where you can escape to." At the same time, that blood-eyed giant at the perfection 9 heavens realm stared at Blood Eagle's father and Madman with a ferocious expression. "Hurry up," Blood Eagle's father urged. "Don't rush me. The more you rush me, the more I can't think of a way," Madman said. "Can I not rush you? If you don't hurry up, we will all die," Blood Eagle's father roared. "Don't rush, don't rush." Madman waved his hand, his mind working quickly, but he couldn't think of the best way. "Huh, little Madman, it's really you." Suddenly, a loud laugh sounded. This voice, Madman's expression stiffened and he immediately turned his head to look in the direction of the voice, only to see a female giant flying through the air. Immediately, Madman was taken aback. Why was it the blood demon race? When Blood Eagle's father saw the female giant, his expression changed and he used all his strength to frantically escape. "Quickly stop them." The blood-eyed giant who was chasing after Blood Eagle's father and Madman immediately shouted when he saw the female giant. However, the female giant was incomparably panicked. "What are you afraid of? This brother is here." The wolf cub on the shoulder of the female giant waved its little paw at Madman. Madman looked again and his face was instantly filled with joy. He immediately said to Blood Eagle's father, "Don't run, quickly go over." Blood Eagle's father finally saw the wolf cub and there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. What was going on? A wolf was actually lying on the shoulder of a blood demon. And looking at the eyes of the wolf cub, it was not a creature of the Nether King Hell. Because the eyes of the creatures of the Nether King Hell were blood red. I finally met an acquaintance. After meeting up, the wolf cub jumped onto Madman's head and said excitedly. That's right. This was the white-eyed wolf. And the female giant was the blood demon that it had met on the day it entered the Nether King Hell. Obviously, this female giant was forced to stay by its side. Madman was also overjoyed. All these years, he had been staying in the canyon with Yi Zhong and the others, and he was almost bored to death. So now that he saw the white-eyed wolf, he was particularly fond of him. The white-eyed wolf asked, "Have you seen little Qin Zi?" "I really want to ask you that too," Madman said. "You didn't see it, and I didn't expect it either. Where did this little Qin Zi go to have fun?" The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. Have fun? Madman was speechless. This word was really well used. Chapter 2605. At the same time. After the white-eyed wolf left her shoulder, the female giant seemed to be relieved of a burden. Immediately after, She took the opportunity to escape and flew towards the peak ninth heaven realm blood-eyed giant. What are you doing? You're actually following an outsider. The blood-eyed giant shouted. The female giant hurriedly said, I was forced. Forced? It's just a half-step ninth heaven realm, how could it force you? The blood-eyed giant frowned. Although it's only a half-step ninth heaven realm, it's extremely strong. The female giant felt wronged. For the past 100 years, she had been ordered around by the white-eyed wolf like a little follower. In terms of hatred, she really hated it to the core. Extremely strong. The blood-eyed giant looked at the white-eyed wolf. The madman looked at the blood-eyed giant and said in a low voice, Wolf cub, let's run. Run. The white-eyed wolf waved his paws and said proudly, in my dictionary, there's no such word as running. Ah. The madman looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. He was so confident. However, let's run. After all, we're near the ancient city of King Yu. The white-eyed wolf changed the topic and said. Bastard. The madman rolled his eyes and shouted at the blood-eyed giant, quick. The blood-eyed giant immediately turned on his escape mode. Chase. The blood-eyed giant shouted and chased after the madman with the female giant. Little Zhu, we've been together for so long. You don't have to be so heartless. The white-eyed wolf turned to the female giant and said sadly. Shut up. The female giant roared. Little pig. The madman was stunned. Not little pig, little Zhu, Bamboo as in bamboo. Her name is Blood Bamboo, so I call her Little Zhu, The white-eyed wolf explained. So that's how it is. The madman suddenly understood. However, Shui Zhu was so big. Was it appropriate to call her Little Zhu, Blood Eagle's father roared, Hey, can you guys not talk about these irrelevant topics at this time? Cough cough. Madman coughed dryly with an awkward expression. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the Blood Eagle's father and looked at Madman suspiciously. Where did this little eagle come from? Also, why did you come to the ancient city of King Yu? Little Eagle. Blood Eagle's father couldn't help but feel angry. How was it small? It's like this. The madman briefly explained the plan of Yi Zhong and the others. I see. Then it's easy to solve. The white-eyed wolf laughed. How do we solve this? Madman was taken aback and hurriedly asked. Actually, I've been here for a long time. I also wanted to enter the ancient city of King Yu to take a look, but I couldn't find a suitable opportunity. Now that you're here, there's a chance. Let's just barge in. The white-eyed wolf snickered. What? Break in? Blood Eagle's father was shocked. What was this wolf cub up to? Was the ancient city of King Yu a place where they could barge in? Break in, Madman pondered for a moment and asked, Blood Eagle, do you trust us? No. Blood Eagle's father shook his head. Heh. You don't have a choice now. The white-eyed wolf snickered. Have I boarded a pirate ship? Blood Eagle's father was infuriated. Yes. You have boarded a pirate ship. The white-eyed wolf snickered. Don't listen to his nonsense. If you bring us in, I promise to let you come out alive. In fact, you might even be rewarded by the ancient king. Madman laughed. This, Blood Eagle's father was hesitant. You're so wishy-washy. To think that you're a father. If your child knows that you're so timid, I'm afraid his impression of you will plummet. The white-eyed wolf despised him. Who said that I'm timid? Let's go then. Who's afraid of who? Blood Eagle's father said furiously. He flapped his wings and circled around the mountain range before heading straight for the ancient King Yu city. Damn it! How dare you trespass into the ancient King Yu city? The crimson-eyed giant was furious. The female giant, Shui Zhu, looked at Madman and the White-Eyed Wolf in disbelief. These guys were too daring. They even dared to trespass into the capital. Blood Eagle? Human? Wolf? They actually trespassed into the ancient Qingyu city? Who gave them the guts? Blood Eagle, stop right there. You're really daring. How dare you bring outsiders and trespass into the ancient Qingyu city? The blood demons in the city soon discovered Madman and the others. All of them rushed into the sky to intercept them. Madman scanned the ancient Qingyu city. It was too big. Even if they flew into the sky, they couldn't see the entire city. Moreover, the blood demons here were abnormally powerful. Just the blood demons that appeared now had a few hundred perfected ninth heaven's realm. Qingyu, I have something to tell you. Quickly come out and see me. All of a sudden, Madman roared. His voice was like a bell that reverberated in all directions. He wants to see Qingyu. That's not right. He's just a human. Why would he want to see Qingyu? The blood demons were bewildered. Presumptuous, presumptuous. Everyone, quickly kill him. The perfected ninth heaven's realm crimson-eyed giant chased into the ancient city and roared in exasperation. Kill. Immediately, the blood demons that were intercepting them pounced towards Madman and the others. I told you not to come in. You just didn't listen. Look at what happened now. Blood Eagle roared. The blood demons were all around them. There was nowhere to escape. Stop. But right at this moment, a loud voice sounded from a palace in the middle of the city. Qingyu. The blood demons were shocked. They quickly stopped and bowed towards the palace from afar. Bring them to see me. The voice sounded again. Yes. The perfected ninth heaven's realm crimson-eyed giant responded respectfully. Madman, White-Eyed Wolf, and Blood Eagle's father finally heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go. The crimson-eyed giant flew in front of Blood Eagle and said expressionlessly while looking at Madman and White-Eyed Wolf. After speaking, he flew towards the palace. Blood Eagle's father said carefully, I won't go. After all, I'm just a guide. None of you are allowed to run. All of you have to go. The crimson-eyed giant shouted without even turning his head. Blood Eagle's father's gaze trembled. He could only bring Madman and White-Eyed Wolf and fly towards the palace. After a few hundred breaths, they landed in front of the palace. One had to know. Blood Eagle was the one flying the entire time. Blood Eagle was at the perfected ninth heaven's realm. Even he needed to fly for a few hundred breaths to arrive. If it was Madman, he would need at least an hour. One had to admit that the ancient city of Qingyu was extraordinarily big. Qingyu, they have arrived. The palace towered into the clouds. In front of the palace, there was a giant plaza. That crimson-eyed giant looked at the tightly shut palace door and said respectfully. Rumble. After saying that, the door slowly opened. However, it didn't open completely. It only opened a gap that was 2 meters wide. Yes. For the palace door, a gap that was 2 meters wide could only be considered a gap. Because this door was a few hundred meters wide. Go in. The crimson-eyed giant looked at Madman, White-Eyed Wolf, and Blood Eagle's father and shouted. Madman and White-Eyed Wolf jumped down from Blood Eagle's back and went straight into the palace. Blood Eagle also shrunk his body and followed behind Madman and White-Eyed Wolf anxiously. As for that crimson-eyed giant, he didn't enter and stood guard outside. The layout of the palace was rather simple. There were dozens of stone chairs on both sides. Each stone chair was 100 meters wide and looked like a small mountain. Even when standing below the stone chairs, Madman and White-Eyed Wolf couldn't help but feel small. The space within the palace was naturally very big. The height was about 500 to 600 meters. Right in front. A crimson-eyed giant that was 100 meters tall sat on the throne and emitted a powerful aura. You guys are the ones who want to see me? King Yu examined Madman and White-Eyed Wolf for a moment before speaking indifferently. He even deliberately lowered his voice. However, when it landed in Madman and White-Eyed Wolf's ears, it was still as deafening as thunder. That's right. Madman nodded. What's the matter? King Yu asked. The dragons came up with a plan. After daybreak, they will come to the ancient city of King Yu to snatch that heaven-defying artifact. Madman said. The dragons. King Yu's eyes flickered with cold light. Your blood demon race isn't very nice. I came here with good intentions to inform you guys, but you guys actually want to kill me. Madman snorted. King Yu said indifferently, there's nothing we can do. Who asked you to be a human? In our eyes, humans are as annoying as dragons. I don't understand. Have humans come to the Nether King's hell before? I don't think so. Only dragons. This is the first time humans have come here. Your blood demon race is already so prejudiced against us. Is this fair? Madman raised his brows. Who said that this is the first time humans have come here? Although there hasn't been a large-scale appearance in the past, there will always be a human entering the Nether King's hell every time. Moreover, this human is even more difficult to deal with than the ancestral dragon. King Yu snorted coldly, his eyes filled with disgust. Who? Madman was curious. I think his name is, right. His name is Yizhong, King Yu said. King Yu said. So it's this old man. Madman and White-Eyed Wolf nodded in realization. Do you guys know him? King Yu frowned. Quite familiar. All these years, I have been staying with Yizhong and the rest. Madman said. Bang! Upon hearing this, King Yu instantly released a terrifying aura. Don't misunderstand. Yizhong is a member of the dragons. He has nothing to do with us humans. You might not know this, but in the outside world, we humans and the dragons are at odds with each other. Madman hurriedly explained. At odds with each other? King Yu was stunned for a moment before saying, in that case, you humans are borrowing the power of the blood demon race to get rid of Yizhong and the dragons? That's indeed the intention. But this time, my biggest purpose of leaking information is to destroy their chances. Because if they obtain the heaven-defying divine artifact, it won't be a good thing for us humans either. Madman said. King Yu pondered for a moment before looking at Madman and saying, this is just your one-sided story. How can I believe you? It's almost daybreak. It won't be long before you know whether it's true or not. Why don't you believe me this time? Madman smiled. King Yu looked at Madman, nodded, and said, all right, I will believe you for the time being. Moreover, if it's confirmed in the end that what you said is true, I will give each of you a thank you gift. I'll thank you in advance then. Madman chuckled. The thank you gift from the blood demon race should be extraordinary.